I came to the clinic during school, and when I got here, they were very thoughtful and friendly to me, and they took very good care of me.
We provide a full variety of primary care services, preventative, acute care, chronic care for adults and children.
It's been very convenient for me because I haven't had to leave school and go make an appointment.
If your student gets sick, you could send them over to one of the wellness centers rather than having to take off of work.
It's kind of hard sometimes to get out of the work. It's just good that they have like a school-based clinic, because like that, if the child is sick, they could just come over here without the parent coming in.
Anybody can come to the clinic.
Our motto is healthy people, healthy community, and we thought what better way to help improve the health of our community than by starting in our schools.
Cool.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Solis, and I will be commentating for today's varsity boys and girls game, and I'm accompanied by Claire McElroy.
Hi everyone. Yes, so excited today to see this battle between the Springdale Bulldogs and the Heritage War Eagles. First, we have up the varsity girls teams. First, for the starting lineup for the Springdale Bulldogs, we have number 10 Jessica Alvarado, who will also be the captain for the team. Erin Christie, Karen Atuna, Bianca Rivas, Yesenia Martinez, Fabiola Rios, Arlene Delgado, Adriana Parsons, Heather Gonzalez, Daniela Aviela, and goalkeeper Noela Romero.
For this matchup for Springdale, their current record is 3-3, coming back from a tournament actually this weekend. And for the Rogers Heritage War Eagles, we have a record of 3-2, so it's a very evenly matched record so far in these two teams.
Yes, and today we both got to sit down and talk to Coach Beeler from the Springdale side, and he was telling us that he really feels as if this game is going to be the defining moment for their season. He says, you can play as many pregame tournaments and matches as you want, but nothing's really going to cement until you play that first conference game. And this is a very wonderful opponent, as you said, very evenly matched. I feel like this is going to be a really good game tonight.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Whenever you go into your first game of conference, it's a whole different animal. You have your friends and family coming out to support you, and you really just have to step it up. You're playing against people you play against in club, and it definitely is going to bring up the stakes, given that this is the beginning of your season, actually. So I can definitely attest to the amount of work that you're going to have to put in this first game.
And definitely there's also going to be a little bit of added extra work tonight, as it has been raining on and off tonight. Actually just started raining pretty hard right before we came up here to get started, and it's kind of seems like it might have stopped for a little while, but if it starts raining again, and even now with the pitch being wet, it's going to be a whole different beast having to play in the rain.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to affect how the players are going to have to adjust to that. The turf is going to be very slippery when the balls are getting sent very long. It's going to be hard to try to catch up to that. You're going to have to learn how to play to your teammates' feet. And if not, it's going to be a very hard time on the pitch trying to catch up to those balls that are just not being able to quite get a grasp on those.
Yes, and Mark, what are you looking for from both of these teams tonight? Like for this first conference game, what do you think they should come out here and do tonight?
Well, really what I'm expecting to see is both of these teams come out very aggressively. I mean, it's their first conference game. This is really going to be setting the tone and pace for the rest of their season. Although, yes, you're going to have to learn to adjust with your formations, with new teammates that are coming in. It's definitely going to have to be a battle, really, to see how these players are going to adjust not only to the wet conditions, but also to the nerves of playing the first conference game.
And another big thing they're going to have to adjust to is not having a scoreboard tonight, Mark. And could you kind of explain to us why that might be?
Yes, absolutely. Due to a cold storm that we had recently, the fiber optic cables actually are being worked on currently, so we won't be playing with the scoreboard tonight. All time will be kept by the center referee, and we're working very hard to get those optic cables working.
And definitely as a player myself, I know that it is so crucial to have that scoreboard to be able to see time and scored, because you could be down by a goal and trying to work as hard as you can, and you only have a couple minutes left, and you're really going to push forward, but not having that score, you're going to kind of just have to guess in your head of where we may be.
Absolutely. I mean, I can attest to, in my high school career, playing and looking at the scoreboard and kind of that giving you a good reminder of how much time is left in the first half and how hard you need to be pushing it if you're tight on time. But all these players really have to rely on is either asking the referee or having their coaches be on top of that, which isn't always the case given that the coaches are managing their team, seeing what they can do to optimize the performance of their players. So that's going to be something that's seems very small, but might have a big impact on a lot of these players.
And another thing I've noticed really interesting as we've been sitting here watching them warm up is the different types of warm-ups both teams are doing. We have Heritage going for a very offensive warm-up, working on their passing and their shooting, and we see Springdale over here while also doing that with some of their players. We also see their starting 11 doing a defensive drill here, a team-on-team kind of drill, trying to get those crisp passes and learning how to keep that and talking to each other in communication.
Yeah, we can definitely see the idea of where each coach is going for. We're seeing the War Eagles here practicing really on that finishing touch, and we see Springdale here really focusing on that passing and moving and really holding that midfield is what we can really expect to see during the game, hopefully also.
Yes, and one thing that I'm really hoping to see tonight from both teams is just a little bit of aggression, just really going for it. You know, like you were saying, talking about trying to get those first game jitters kind of out, and hopefully won't see any major fouls from either team, but definitely playing hard and playing fast and getting ready and attacking.
Absolutely. We hope to see that in every game, them playing their hearts out. And one thing actually specific to the Lady Bulldogs is, as I mentioned before, them coming from a tournament. They played Friday and Saturday, just giving them 2 days to recover, and that's definitely going to have an impact on today's game. They're going to have to be worn down a little bit, but speaking to Coach Beeler, he was telling me that they definitely worked very, very hard in that tournament, that they performed very well. They only lost to the team that actually ended up winning the whole tournament, so they have some experience playing some hard teams, and hopefully we can also see that shine today.
And also, I feel like that's also a really good bonding experience for the team. You know, these people have been working together since August, but really whenever you go away and are there with just you and your team and playing and hanging out and going to eat together and staying in the hotel together, it really affects that mentality you have with your team. I feel like Springdale is going to come out very close and kind of understanding each other and being able to tell what's happening.
Absolutely. Not only does it just bring them closer off the field, but on the field, they're feeling more comfortable communicating with each other. They're starting to learn how each player affects the game. They're starting to learn their style of play with each player. So that's definitely something that not only benefits them off the field, but certainly on the field when they can just get that chemistry going.
And a lot of something I've noticed about the Springdale team is we see a lot of seniors on this team this year. We have a lot of people that are going to be playing their last year, and I feel like that could even show tonight or in our future games the fact that, you know, this is their last season. This is the time to shine, and if they don't do it now, then they won't be able to do it again.
That certainly is going to play into not only this game, but this entire season. Whenever a team is full of seniors, they have people who are going to be giving it their all every single game. They're going to be trying to get that state ring that every team so badly desires, and that's definitely going to affect how we see these teams playing today and the rest of the season.
Yes, and we see over here, like I was talking about, we have some of the, I believe these are some of the subs getting ready and being there in case something may come up.
Absolutely. We still see Heritage actually changing things up now, doing a two-step process. Looks like to be long shots and then a close finishing tactic here.
Seems like we've added a little bit of defense, and one thing I'm going to be very interested about seeing is the goalkeeper for Springdale this year, Cynthia. Graduated last year, who was their keeper for those last 3 or 4 years, and we're going to get to see a new keeper coming out tonight, and she looks like she's been proving herself during warm-up. She's been playing a very good practicing game, and I definitely think that this is going to be something that could once again affect the Springdale side.
Yeah, so there's definitely going to be a lot of factors coming into today's game. Not only is it going to be the jitters, it's going to be the conditions today. It's actually not too chilly outside with currently being 58 degrees, but we are definitely going to see the effect that the wet pitch has on the ball today. So we definitely have a lot of things to look forward to today.
Yes, and as my dad would and my coach would say, he would say this is the perfect soccer weather. It's not too hot outside. It's not too cold. It's a little bit cloudy. It's a good feeling. It makes you feel like you're in England.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever you're getting really hot and you're running out there, this cool breeze that we have is definitely going to help out just a little bit.
We see the refs look like they might be starting to get ready to start up the game here in the next few minutes. And another thing, we were actually talking about this earlier when we were watching the JV game. We see the Springdale team kind of maybe practicing some, getting some punts from their goalkeeper. We were talking about this earlier that, there's going to be a battle in that middle. So sometimes we need to make sure that the players are ready to receive the ball from the midfield and be able to take it down the field from their keeper.
Yeah, that's a thing that we have with a lot of high school teams. That midfield is really going to be a big factor in how the game plays out. Usually we see teams that dominate the midfield are really pushing a lot throughout the entire game. So it's going to be really up to the goalkeepers to try to send those big punts to their players to give them that advantage of getting possession first in the midfield.
How does it feel being back, Mark? First time not playing in 4 years, but getting to sit here and watch these teams play today?
Oh, I love it. I miss coming back here and just being ready on these days, getting yourself in the right mindset, as I'm sure a lot of these players are going to be doing today, getting themselves in the right mindset and just being very anxious to play and perform the way that they know they can perform.
Yes, and it seems like we've got the refs coming out to the center. We're about to start. Both teams are getting together in their huddles, talking last-minute stuff, getting out those last-minute jitters, and getting ready to start.
Yeah, I mean, I think you and I both can attest to those huddles that we see both teams doing. That's definitely going to kind of put you in the right mindset when you're there with your players, talking about what you guys need to be accomplishing for today's game and just how you guys are supposed to support each other and just be there throughout the game, because it's going to get emotional, it's going to get passionate, and you have to maintain your composure and just play the game.
Definitely. Mark, I was wondering, what do you think about the fact, we've been talking about this throughout this opening commentary, about the fact that Springdale did come back from that tournament. Do you think that's going to have an effect on their mindset tonight, coming back, getting that second place award at that tournament? Do you think that's going to be affecting their gameplay tonight?
Absolutely, and it's all about how they take it. They could be coming in saying, well, we got second place, or we got this in the bag, which wouldn't be preferred. The idea is to take, okay, we know we have a strong team that we can, if we play together and we communicate, that we can definitely get taken care of business. So that's what we hope to see, and I definitely think that they'll learn from everything they learned during that tournament and implement in today's game.
We have Daniela Ayala on the ball tonight with Adriana Parsons there to be that second forward for her. And it seems like we have a goalkeeper shoe mount function over there on the sideline for Springdale. I know as a goalkeeper that it is so hard to tie your shoes with those gloves on, so.
Yeah, we're just waiting for her to get back into her net before we can get the game started. But it looks like things are starting to settle down, and we're about to get started here. And we have the ref announcing the start of the game here. We have Springdale with the initial possession of the ball, playing out wide.
Yes, and they were playing, I believe they're playing a 3-4-2, Springdale, their formation for tonight. And I think that's definitely going to have an effect on the game, having that very central-minded idea and having that midfield-minded play.
We saw a quick turnover, Heritage with the throw-in, but Springdale defending it very nicely, not allowing Heritage to turn on that ball.
And another thing I'm noticing immediately off the bat from Heritage is they're playing a pretty far back line. They're making sure that Adriana Parsons has a really good speed on her. She's very, very quick on and off the ball, so they're trying to make sure that they are keeping her to where she can't make those long runs.
Absolutely. We have Avila here keeping possession of the ball, playing it wide, not quite able to keep possession of it, but coming back to fight for it.
And we see some of those defenders pushing their way back, some of those midfielders pushing their way back to the defense to help keep that ball out of their 18-yard box.
Yeah, one thing we definitely see from Springdale is whenever they're on defensive, they are definitely being defensive. They drop back very hard. As we can see right now, we have a lot of Springdale players dropping back.
Oh, and it seems we have a foul on number 2, Karen Atuna, This is a very dangerous foul right here, right on the 18-yard box. This is going to be something that Springdale is definitely going to have to make sure they are defending and are ready for.
Yeah, especially so early in the game. It's teams like this that if they can execute it very well, that this can be crucial. If they can get a goal on this or just even a dangerous attack, getting ahead this early in the game can definitely have a huge impact on how the rest of the game plays out. Springdale only leaving Parsons up top. The rest of the team is dropped back and defending very aggressively.
Yes. Man-to-man marking from the Springdale side.
One thing I see that's very interesting is we see no Springdale players on the post. Heritage setting it back in, and that's going to be out of bounds for a goal kick.
Yes, and I know, as you were saying about the post, that is a crucial spot that a attacker will be aiming for, those posts on those free kicks. So I feel like that definitely is something they need to, while you do need that man marking, they should probably be making sure to watch that front post, because as a goalkeeper myself, I know that we can't get to those posts that fast. You know, you have to be able to have somebody there to help you with that. We have number 10, Jessica Alvarado, in the middle, making a beautiful pass up, but to Heritage.
Heritage not quite being able to get past 25 here for Springdale. Struggling. She's been fighting for Springdale very hard and being able to recover a lot of those balls.
Yes, it's Yesenia Martinez. She's been playing a very defensive and aggressive game today, but nothing too over the top. And that'll be out for a Springdale throw-in.
We have Parsons dropping back to try to get possession of that ball, and Heritage center back giving a good clearance. From what I can see so far this early in the game, we see Springdale playing, having a favorite really on that right side, continuously trying to push through there. Hopefully what we can see is transition and getting them to switch the ball.
Yes, and something I'm noticing is that their far side midfielder is playing very far back on defense, which while this can be a good thing, it also can sometimes really hurt the team with not having that person that they could switch the ball to.
Jessica Alvarado trying to get possession back in the middle of the field. We have a big ball from Heritage, and we have one-on-one, the forward, and we have the goalkeeper picking it up nicely.
Easy ball there for the goalkeeper to kind of pick up, but we did have that last-minute bit of aggression from the forward from Heritage.
Yeah, they did definitely collided there, but Noelia was able to shake it off just fine. Springdale not getting a good clear on the ball. Heritage trying to play it wide, not quite getting it in. And still having possession of the ball in the midfield, playing out wide, back to the center. Jessica Alvarado picking it up, intercepting that ball nicely.
That looked like a bit of a foul there, but I guess the refs decided that wasn't too bad.
Referee says play on.
We're going to have another kick here today from the Springdale goalkeeper.
We have Avila switching with Alvarado. Avila having to drop back and pushing Alvarado forward. And, Jessica Alvarado is actually very good to maintain possession of that ball, so we'll see how she can help Parsons up there if she can maintain possession and possibly give her some good through balls.
Definitely, Jessica Alvarado is a wonderful player who can play very well, give those long balls in the midfield, but also is very good on the ball as well, dribbling past this defender, so I definitely think that could have definitely been a strategic change there, putting her up forward.
Heritage trying to get a ball in and deflected from a Springdale defender, giving Heritage a corner kick. This will be the second set piece early on in the game that Heritage will be getting.
Definitely, and this is a crucial piece of defense for the Springdale team. They definitely are going to have to be watching those runs in, and it looks like number 14 could possibly be making a run in later on right before she kicks, so they are definitely going to have to be watching that. But this time we do see they do have people on the post, so we're good in that regard.
We have a ball sent in, and that was very nearly missing the goal there. She seemed to have a mark on her back, but there was no one there to take that away from her. And Springdale, that could have been very dangerous for them.
Yes, and we have number 2, Karen Atuna, taking the goal kick for Springdale, trying to get that ball out of the pressured area.
A ball that quite wasn't to half field. Vath
We have number 5, Erin Christie throwing it in. Erin Christie just joined the team last year, but she has been a big help to this team in the midfield. She has been a very aggressive player. She actually had some knee problems last year and possibly this year. She's having to wear that giant knee brace, but she's been a wonderful addition to their team.
From what I can see, doesn't seem to be stopping her whatsoever, and she's playing very good so far, giving the throw into Heritage. Heritage picking it up. Avila dropping back and getting possession on that ball again. Playing it in the middle to Alvarado. Alvarado looking for that wide ball, sending it wide. Parsons trying to drop back and get that. Heritage goalkeeper getting it with no issues.
But we have that right going back to Yesenia Martinez right there, and she's going to run onto it again, and there's a...
Yesenia battling it out right there for Springdale to get possession. Heritage having to play it out of bounds to relieve herself of that pressure, giving her teammates some time to drop back and help her.
And this is a throw-in in a very dangerous spot here. Oh, and a little bit of a miss there by number 1. But Yesenia Martinez right there to be on that attack, and a good ball in.
Heritage just struggling to get that ball out of there. Springdale here with another throw-in on Heritage's defensive half. Avila going in for the throw-in. Springdale again with another throw-in.
One thing I'm noticing about the Springdale team on their throw-ins is they are making those runs, trying to get around those defenders and kind of be, take the defenders by surprise a little bit and try to throw them off their guard. Once again, another Springdale throw.
Yesenia, the header, Jessica not getting able to get possession of that.
We have Karen Atuna coming up to kick that ball back into their side, back onto their attacking half. And another ball out for another throw-in.
Heritage is definitely feeling the pressure that Springdale's pushing on them whenever they're in their own defensive half. Springdale is pushing very hard, forcing them to either pass it out of bounds or just try to get it cleared up field. We have Heather here with a throw-in.
And that's going to be a corner for this Springdale team. A very good piece of a good set play here to see if we can possibly get a goal.
And what we hope to see here is Springdale taking advantage of this first set piece. Again, set pieces can be very crucial. Not all teams are able to defend set pieces very well, but we do see that Heritage's box seems to be stacked with defenders.
Good ball in.
Goalkeeper not getting possession of it. Heritage having possession, bringing it upfield.
And we see all of the Springdale people trying to get back there so that they can get onto the defense.
Heritage being pushed on by 3 Springdale defenders, not being able to get past.
And one thing I feel like the Springdale team's going to have to watch out there is that number 2 on the far side was running with no mark, which if they would have been able to get that to her, that could have been a deadly move there for the Springdale team.
Absolutely. When you're on a counterattack like that, communication is extremely essential whenever you're running back and you're it's chaos really trying to get recovery of that ball, and you see players on that far side that are left wide open with no mark. It's crucial to communicate with your defenders. I'm sure you can attest that as a goalie you have to let your defenders know who's coming and to watch their backs.
Oh yes, definitely. We also just had a substitution there for the War Eagles, number 9 coming in for number 1.
Big clearance, Alvarado getting possession, turning on that ball with 3 Heritage defenders, cutting back nicely.
And there he goes to Yesenia Martinez. Beautiful ball from Alvarado.
Yeah, what a great switch to cross the field. We have Avila playing back. Heritage pushing hard on Springdale's center backs, having to play out wide. Heritage getting possession of that ball. Will she get a touch on it?
Oh, wow. What a beautiful stop there by the keeper. That was a wonderful stop by Noella.
Yeah, kept it in bounds. That would have been a corner, but she did keep it in bounds, and now we're going to have a goal kick. Big punt upfield.
Definitely.
Heather playing it. Alvarado getting possession. Playing Heather wide, but getting intercepted by Heritage. Avila dropping back to fight and get possession of the ball again, giving Heritage the throw-in. Big throw-in here from Heritage, but...
Wonderful stop there by Erin Christie.
Alvarado deflecting it off of Heritage's number 20.
One thing I've noticed about this Heritage team is that they definitely are taking advantage of those 50-50 balls. That
Avila bringing it here with Alvarado, sending a long ball to Parsons. Parsons definitely has that speed. She's winning possession of that ball to that Heritage right back. Just ran out of field, and the out of bounds came quicker than she was expecting. Unfortunately, getting out of bounds and giving Heritage a throw in.
Let's see if Springdale will be able to keep this on their attacking half of the field. We see Arlene Delgado moving up, trying to get there, but getting stopped by a Heritage player.
Heritage trying to play wide, not quite reaching the ball, giving it out of bounds. Avila here picking up possession.
Martinez once again, a beautiful ball in
We have
there.
Parsons here, one-on-one with the keeper. Can she get possession? Keeper not getting possession of the ball, letting it go.
A pass back there from
Now we have
Parsons.
Heritage giving a big ball, intercepted by Christie. Heather picking it up out wide.
That's going to be another throw in for Springdale.
What we do see from Springdale is they are very quick on their feet. When they lose possession, they all drop back very, very quickly. And whenever they get possession, they all move forward and open wide. We have a big ball here. Karen Antuna not being able to clear the ball. We have 2v1. And Springdale clearing it out. That's very, very important there. That could have been dangerous. 2v1. Two Heritage forwards were going to be pushing on that ball very aggressively. And that could have been an ugly play. But we do have Springdale coming in to save.
That was number 18, Bianca Rivas, coming in with that wonderful stop there for the Springdale Bulldogs.
Absolutely. That was just great timing, being able to intercept that ball.
And that also shows that sometimes you don't need to stay on your side of the field. If there's a ball coming in and it's on the other side of the field, go and get it and stop it. That's the main goal here, is to make sure that the other team doesn't score. Have another throw in here for Heritage. And Atuna will be there to get that out.
Heritage left back picking it up, trying to send it back in, intercepted by Springdale. Avila here getting it in the midfield, getting it back to Heather. Heritage getting possession with the wide ball here. Can we have them reach it? And it just was right out of her grasp, giving Springdale another goal kick. Now, one thing I have been noticing is that when Heritage is either on the counterattack or just on the attack at all, they are very good at playing out wide, and they're just getting out of their grasp. But again, that could be that wet turf. It's not letting those balls slow down. They're just keep on going, and it can be very difficult to catch up to.
Yes, definitely. That's
Alvarado
another
with a
beautiful
big ball,
in.
cleared out by the goalkeeper.
Martinez still on the ball here.
Playing it back to her center back, who will be clearing it upfield. Avila picking it up. Heritage getting back possession, looking to her options, sending a left ball. Very good play. We have 24 Heritage taking on Antuna, cutting, getting past two defenders.
And the goalkeeper came out right at the right time to get that ball to make sure that there wasn't a chance of a goal there.
Now, number 24, Heritage has been proven to be dangerous there. They have to be pushing on her and stand their ground. She took two Springdale defenders, and if she had played the ball just a bit quicker, that could have, again, been very dangerous. We see Springdale having to work a little extra harder just to make sure that they're covering each other's backs and that they're defending the balls very good.
Yes. We have two substitutions coming in for Heritage. I believe that is number 5 and number 1 coming back into the game, who was out previously.
To resume play, we'll have Heritage with the throw-in. Throwing it too deep, giving Springdale the goal kick.
Now, another thing I'm noticing about the Springdale team is the fact that they aren't staying short for that ball in case they maybe need to play that short ball. I just feel like that could, if they wanted to try that could maybe make it easier for them to build out of that defense.
Yesenia playing to Alvarado in the midfield. Alvarado getting some pressure from behind, not being able to get a good touch. Yesenia trying to push Heritage on the left side.
Good stop there by Bianca Rivas, but out for a Heritage ball.
And Tuna clearing the ball. She seemed to get hit pretty hard, but she's seems to be fine, getting back on her feet.
Or it looks like she might be down. We might be seeing the trainer or coach coming on.
She doesn't seem to be in too much pain. It could have just been a hard fall, but she's picked up by the referee and her teammate, Yesenia. Walking with a bit of a limp.
And they're going to call on the trainer and the coach to come and see what could be wrong.
She will be getting a substitution.
If we do see her having to go out for the rest of the game, this is going to be a critical part of this Springdale defensive team going out. She's been playing really, really well tonight, being able to get there and play those long balls. So this could definitely be a really hard hit to the Bulldog side.
And if you look down the field, we see Coach Beeler speaking with Jessica Alvarado, who has been holding the midfield very well, fighting for the balls. We have the game resuming here, playing back to Heritage.
And it looks like they're hopeful that Tuna will be coming back in, so they're going to not make that substitution right now. Maybe, hopefully she'll be feeling better soon and be able to come back in.
Heritage with the wide ball, being pressured, trying to look for a player to pass it to. Played out wide, good wall passing there, center in. We have number 5. Springdale's goalkeeper feeling confident. Noelia seeing that the ball is going to go out, just lets it right out. There's no Heritage players pushing too hard. She lets it roll out to give herself possession of that ball.
So now we're going to have to see what she can do without Tuna being in, because she's been taking the goal kicks for the Bulldog side. Oh, and we have Arlene Delgado coming back to take that kick for her.
We will have to see Springdale and how they adjust to their center back, Tuna, being off the field. She has been a great help in a few instances. She's actually cleared the ball in crucial moments. So we will have to see how Springdale makes up and compensates for that.
And we see number 13, Ali Shook, coming in for number 7, Azania Karabal. So we could see how this is going to affect them, because number 7 has also been playing a very good game defensively.
And Christy with pressure there from Heritage. Alvarado playing it out wide, giving Heritage a throw.
Oh, and it seems like as we look there behind the Springdale goal, we see Karen Atuna being taken around to the other side, which means that there probably will be a substitution coming in for her.
Heather playing on the right side. Heritage is number 4, not letting her get past and playing it out of bounds, giving Springdale the throw in.
And that was Amber Martinez, their number 4 for Heritage's team.
Big throw in for Springdale, being headed back by Heritage. We see a big ball for Parsons here. Booted upfield before she could get to it. Springdale trying to get the ball upfield, and Heritage not making it easy for them at all. Currently getting possession, setting a long ball here. It's possibly going to go out, and that's exactly what we see.
And I think I know what Coach Beeler was talking to Jessica Alvarado about. It seems as if they've put in Alexa Calderon there where Erin Christie was playing, and Christie has shifted over to play the role that Karen Atuna was playing for them. So that should be an interesting change to see there.
Absolutely. We see how Springdale has adjusted, and now we have to see if that's going to be enough to take Karen Atuna's spot. We have Yesenia clearing the ball upfield, rebounding it off of Heritage, giving Springdale the throw. Now, what we've seen a lot in this game is Springdale's right side really working hard. Yesenia and Avila really fighting to get possession of every single ball. We have Yesenia here on the possession of the ball, sending a long ball to Parsons, getting intercepted by Heritage's center back. Avila getting possession in the center of the field, looking to see who she can pass it to, sending a long ball to Alvarado. Alvarado having options, just wasn't able to get it off her foot quick enough. Heritage is number 6, putting pressure just the right moment on Alvarado.
Yes, Josie, still that's number 6 for Heritage. Oh, and they're going to say that that is actually a Heritage throw.
And Heritage looking to see who she can pass it to. The ball was just a little bit too deep. We see Noelia picking it up with no issues.
that's going to go right there to the midfield, and we'll see how this 50.
Heather getting possession, taking the ball away from Parsons here on that left side, bringing it in, losing possession, giving it to Heritage. Still coming back to fight for it, though.
This is Aaron Christie up to Avila. And that's going to be number 4 for Heritage, getting the ball back for Heritage.
We have throw in here for Springdale.
And something I've been noticing about Springdale here for their throw-ins, and even Heritage as well, is that they like to use their outside wings for those throw-ins so that they don't have to use any of their attacking players for that throw-in, no matter how far up the field they are.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we see commonly, especially with these two teams. I think it's been like that for every single throw-in. It seemed to be pretty effective with players moving and communicating just fine.
And we see number 9 for Springdale, Anna Centino, coming in to fill in that spot for, I believe, Yesenia, actually.
Heritage losing possession at about the 50-yard, giving Springdale a throw-in. Now, in all honesty, even though Karen and Tuna had to be subbed off, I don't see a drop in quality of play from Springdale whatsoever. They seem to be communicating and working together very, very well, regardless of having lost a very good asset to their team.
Definitely, I feel like Christy has taken on that spot and is playing it very, very well. She's being very aggressive and is ready, and she's on the attack.
You see Heritage not putting very much pressure at all, just kind of anticipating the ball, getting possession. Avila trying to move upfield, but getting it out of bounds, giving Heritage another throw-in.
Lane Knight will be taking the throw-in for Heritage here, number 20.
Again, we see Avila working very, very hard on this right side to just maintain possession.
That's going to go to Heather, who's going to play that up, but it's going to be intercepted by number 14 there. And it seems number 5 may have gotten hit in the face there by Rivas, but
she plays on. She plays on. It does seem to be bothering her. She seems to be continuously grabbing her nose, but it's not stopping her from playing whatsoever. We have a big clearance here from Springdale.
That is number 21, Fabiola Ruiz, making that really nice clearance there.
Big clearance from Heather. We have Avila battling to get possession of the ball. Heritage is number 9 with a very nice turn and playing forward to number 5, Christy with the clear.
And another thing I've noticed about this Heritage team is that they are trying to stay out pretty wide and make sure that they have that kind of angle coming in, but also Springdale is trying to push that team also out to the side as well and trying to get them out of bounds there, which they've been pretty successful in so far.
Yeah, one thing we definitely see from Heritage is a lot of long balls. We'll be seeing 1 or 2 passes before a long ball is sent out, and then they're on the attack. When Springdale has the ball, they try to play it, and they don't send long balls until they're pretty deep into the Heritage's defensive half.
And as I was talking about earlier on in the game, we still see the Heritage defensive side staying pretty far back, still behind that 50-yard line, making sure that Springdale can't have any fast breaks.
They definitely give their team some depth there, stretching their lines, but it's definitely working when they're being able to cut off those passes and those long balls.
They're not letting Parsons get past them with her speed.
Absolutely, they've been defending her very well. I mean, Parsons is very, very quick. She has good touch on the ball, and for them not to be letting her go seems to be their priority. They're marking her wherever she goes.
And a little bit of a mistouch there by Ayala is giving Heritage a throw-in.
You see Springdale kind of struggling to get past half field here. They've been stuck back here for a couple of minutes, and that just seems to be their priority right now, is getting the ball upfield when we have Heritage with another throw-in.
A thing I'm really liking about Springdale's keeper's positioning is that she's staying back. She's not getting worried about any fast breaks that may be coming. She's
Heritage
ready.
with a big ball.
And that's going to go just out for a goal kick. That was a really wonderful shot there.
Yeah, I definitely caught everyone off guard. They were possessing here. She just turned and took a rip at it, and that could have proven to been important. But I'm glad that we're seeing some variety here and how these ladies are tackling their their attacks, and they're not just maintaining the same thing. They're kind of spicing it up and kind of catching the other team off guard.
We see Yesenia coming back in, taking back her spot from Anna. And
Alvarado setting a big ball. That'll be the first break for Springdale in a few minutes to even get it past half field.
So maybe we'll see a bit of an attack here from Springdale.
Springdale playing very, very quick, pushing their numbers forward. We have Parsons with 2 defenders, not quite able to get it to her teammate Fabiola, getting control, sending it back upfield. Yesenia, big ball to Parsons, intercepted there by Heritage. Heritage playing very nicely out wide. Heather dropping back to try to defend that. Didn't let Heritage get a comfortable touch on the ball. Parsons dropping back to get possession of that ball.
She wins that ball and gets it back to Alvarado.
Alvarado playing it to Yesenia. Yesenia sending a long ball to Avila. Avila running down that right side trying to get away. We have Parsons on the opposite side there.
If she can get that ball in, this could be deadly.
We saw that could have been a very, very dangerous play for Springdale here. They could have gotten a wonderful goal there. They had 2v1. Avila just wasn't able to get that cross to the other side. Nonetheless, got to the ball first and tried to send that ball, but Heritage did put very good pressure on there and not letting her comfortably send the ball across, which ultimately gave Heritage the goal kick.
And I believe this might actually be the first or second goal kick we've seen today from Heritage, so it's going to be interesting to see kind of what their strategy is for their goal kicks.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a lot more come from Springdale in their goal kicks. This match started off a lot more even than it is now. What we see now is Heritage pushing very, very hard, and Springdale first having to worry about defending that before they can go and attack. So what we hope to see is that the teams balance out a little bit more to kind of get attacks on both sides. But now what we have is Heritage pushing in more recent times.
We have a foul here for Heritage. Good ball in.
Heritage again pushing on that right side. Not being able to get past the defender, having to play it back, sending it in. Fabiola intercepting that. Not quite far enough. We have a big ball here from Heritage, setting it over the goal.
And once again, we see Heritage getting that ball in the middle, but immediately playing it out to wide. That's just kind of, I guess that's just their style of play. They're wanting to try to keep that ball out wide and make it harder on the Springdale team to defend.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely see throughout the whole game. We see Heritage playing it out wide and then sending it back into the center and trying to get a shot on there. We have seen a lot more shots come from Heritage, and Springdale having to reciprocate that with goal kicks.
And Karen Atuna has come back into the game for Alexa Calderon to take back her position there in the middle of the field.
Maybe this will be the turning point in this game where we see Springdale bounce back and not have to worry so much about defending, but kind of more offensively. Atuna with a clearance on the ball that wasn't quite upfield. Springdale players letting the ball right out, and Heritage getting a throw in. This is pretty deep in Springdale's defensive territory.
Yes, and we've been seeing some very good throw-ins from the Heritage team here that have been pretty long and pretty deadly and especially in this close position.
These are the type of games where you really have to execute and appreciate your offensive attacks that you get, because the one that you get could be the defining moment of the whole game. We have Heritage here with the corner kick.
And this is their second corner kick of the day, so this should be interesting to see. We see a couple of people standing there on the 6-yard line.
We have a good ball sent in that's going to be out of bounds. And what was interesting to me here is we have Parsons dropping back very deep to kind of help out her teammates, and yet we still have Heritage keeping those 3 defenders at the 50 yards. They were not going to pass the 50-yard mark, so they are definitely stretching that defensive line pretty far back.
And that's going to go to Alvarado there in the middle, and she just misses it there.
Sending a long ball to Avila. Avila with the man, taking her on, sending a long ball to Parsons. Just a little bit too long there with the keeper picking it up. Again, this is probably the effect of the turf being wet and those long balls just not slowing down whatsoever and making it very difficult to catch up to those long balls.
One thing I've noticed today in the midfield is that Heritage has Springdale beat out in height. I noticed that whenever Alvarado went up for that ball and just missed it there. So I feel like that could also be an effect today. Number 20 for Heritage is very tall there in the middle. And also the number 17, there's one of their center backs is very tall, and we just don't have that much height on the Springdale team.
Yeah, and we can see the effects of that every time that a goalkeeper punts it to the midfield. It is that slight advantage that you can get getting the header first on the ball, and that height definitely will make a difference, especially when it comes to set pieces like corner kicks.
Number 2 and number 7 coming in for the Heritage team.
Long throw in there, intercepted by Christy. Avila getting a head in. Heritage not quite comfortably getting possession of that ball. Now they're able to play it to number 1, who's able to send a long ball there. Christy was there to intercept that. We have Heather on this far side, pushing up very hard. We have Yesenia and Parsons up. Again, that long ball is going to prove to be very, very difficult to execute on, especially with the turf being wet. Avila intercepting that goalkeeper's punt, sending a long ball.
A thing I would like to see from this Springdale side here is maybe trying to get that ball out wide a little bit more. They seem to be trying to play those long balls down the middle, which, while sometimes those can be crucial plays, sometimes those just get too far ahead of you, like you've been saying with the rain and everything. You know, the goalkeepers makes it just that much easier on the goalkeeper.
Heather here on this left side, playing a deep ball, not having the communication there with Parsons. And again, I think this is what they should be focusing on, is their touch on the ball, the passing and the moving, the wall passes. They seem to be executing it very, very well, but when it comes to the offensive side, they just want to keep on sending those long balls. It might work in their favor to continue to play those short passes as they've been doing fairly well.
And once again earlier, just a couple of seconds earlier, we saw there the effects of that height difference. Number 20 able to get the ball from Yesenia in the middle from a header.
Heritage with the clearance up, and Tuna being able to get first touch on that ball. Playing kickball there. Parsons one-on-one with the defender. Defender not making it easy for her to get that ball at all. Being able to clear it very nicely. We have Heritage here on the attack now. And we have a foul here on Heritage for Springdale.
I believe that was on number 25, I believe. That's Meredith Alvarez. No, number 22. Sorry. They're just pushing Christy over there and making her hit the ground pretty hard.
Yeah, well, now that Springdale has possession, we'll see what they can make of this. They don't have any Heritage players pushing very much on them. I like to see a lot more of what they do best, which is really just passing and moving and maintaining those instead of sending constant long balls. Heritage is getting a long header. Springdale not being able to get it all the way upfield. Heritage again intercepting those balls and not letting Springdale get those balls upfield.
He's going to get past their defensive line.
Heather getting the center back's clearance. Heritage playing it out wide again. We have here what could be dangerous. We have 22 for Heritage setting a ball in the middle, not being able to get a touch on it. We saw there Springdale's defender not making it easy for Heritage to get a touch on that ball, and that's what gave them the throw-in.
One thing I'm noticing for both teams that I would like to see is a little bit more communication. That's a key of this game, is communicating with each other, and it just doesn't seem like they are communicating as well as they could be.
Yeah, we definitely see them communicating fairly well when it comes to the middle of the field and passing it there. But when it comes to on that last offensive third and that defensive third, we see a lack of communication and small things that definitely make a big difference. We have 22 for Heritage trying to get that ball, but Noelia Romero coming out sliding and getting the ball very nicely. She's giving her time for her teammates to push up and sending that long ball there. We have Yesenia winning that big throw. Setting a long ball here for Avila. Avila getting a nice touch on that ball, being pressured by two defenders. Cutting, giving to Yesenia again.
And we see that height advantage coming into play there. Number 6 being able to hit the ball.
We have here a big shot just wide of the goal. Not a worry for Heritage's goalkeeper. Just going to pick it up, take their time, and play it out. Seems that there was it will be a goal kick for Heritage.
And we see a couple players coming in. We see number 13 and number 4 coming in for the War Eagles side.
And we continue to play. We have a fairly short ball there, with Yesenia being able to picking it up. We have Avila getting a touch on it, fighting it out there with their left back, and giving her team the throw-in. Again, Springdale is very quick to move on the ball and pass in these short areas, which could prove to be critical.
They've got a bit of space there, number 14, but she passes it up to number 10, who receives the ball and is...
Heritage here with the attack, not seeing many options up forward, having to play it back. A big cross from 13 for Heritage, 22 for Heritage, not being able to get past Karen Antuna.
And here we see, like I was talking about earlier, that left side, either their forward or their midfielder being there. That would have been a really nice ball if they would have had someone there to receive.
Big throw for Heritage, 22 trying to get a cross in. That forward not being able to get a head on that. If she would have been able to just get her head on that, that could have been something. But she just wasn't able to get a head on that.
We see number 14 making a run in from the back, coming in there to help with that throw in.
Heritage here with the throw in. 20 for Heritage, looking for that long ball. We see number 4 playing it to number 22, who just wasn't able to get a good touch on that, sending it out, giving Springdale the throw in. Springdale playing it short to Yesenia, who isn't able to get a good touch on that ball, giving Heritage possession. Avila intercepting that cross across the field.
She's going to get it again and send it back.
Trying to play it short, but intercepted here by 24 Heritage, who's going to send a long ball over the net, giving Springdale another goal kick. Now, one thing that we're seeing a lot from Heritage that Springdale is really lacking is getting those long shots in. We see Heritage trying to get it down the middle on that right side, and it's getting fairly close, and it could prove to be essential later on whenever they get something out of it. In Springdale, we don't really see much of that. They're really wanting to get really deep before they even try to make an attempt at goal. Heather fighting it out there on the left side, sending a long ball.
And they're mistouched by number 14. This is giving a good opportunity, and that's going to be kicked out for a throw-in for the Springdale side.
That right back for Heritage definitely felt Parsons' pressure and had to kick it out of bounds to feel safe. We have Heather here. Heritage's right back trying to get clearance on that ball, giving Springdale throwing.
They're going to call that, I believe, either a handball or a high kick there, and that's going to be a Heritage. Oh, and now it's halftime of the game, 0-0.
Yes, we've reached halftime of the game. We have a score of 0-0 for each team. Each team has been fighting it out the whole game, and we'll see how they come back, what their coach tells them, and how that's going to affect their play in the second half.
What would you want each coach to be telling each team, Mark? What do you think would be your advice to them?
Well, I really think it's individual for each team. Well, to start off with Heritage, we see that they are communicating fairly well, but it's in that final third that they're just not getting the final touches on. So I would expect them to have that conversation, telling them that they need to kind of be more composed in the last moment, switching it up a little bit, surprising Springdale. And as for Springdale, I would see that they need to organize themselves a little bit better defensively so that they can play more and take those risks that they're not taking up top, where they're not taking any long shots. They're all trying to play it very deep before they make any attempt at goal.
Definitely. For me, I believe that for both teams, they really need, as you said, for Heritage, I feel like they both need to really diversify. Both teams are trying to play their very unique styles of play each team, but they're playing the same thing over and over. We see Springdale trying to get those long balls, as you were saying, but if they were to maybe try something like Heritage has been doing with those, maybe some longer shots, or maybe even taking it down wide and trying to play it back into the middle.
And again, as a player, you have to realize the stamina and your own players. You just came back from a tournament, and your forwards were probably running that whole tournament. And with only 2 days to rest, I would be more cautious of just sending long ball after long ball, kind of giving each other support by playing it short and giving them an option to play it instead of just having to send a long ball.
Which also could be playing into that fatigue from that tournament weekend, because maybe they're thinking they don't know if they can take that ball and dribble it around, and they want to try to just get the ball up the field as fast as they can.
Although I can't be certain, I can definitely say that it might be a factor in as to why Heritage has been playing those long balls whenever they attack, especially on that right side, because they do have those fresh legs, and they do have that advantage in not having to have just come back from a tournament.
Definitely. I feel like we do see Heritage kind of maybe out playing the other team a little bit in that idea in the regards of speed, because they haven't been playing. They've just been doing a couple of pre-games. They haven't had that tournament over the weekend.
And I see Billy here using some cones, I believe, to kind of give them a better idea of how they should be playing with the formation. And that's going to be essential, especially if they want to change their style of play and kind of diversify the way they use their mindset in the attack.
Yes, one thing I did notice about the Springdale team throughout was that at some points it was kind of hard to tell what the formation exactly was. They were starting to get a little, I was speaking about it with Bianca, saying that was the right move for her, but in that case it was. But sometimes it's not the best to see those players on the right side trying to move up to the left, or vice versa, or even in the middle. Sometimes it just gets a little too congested there in the middle and makes it harder for the team to play.
Yeah, one thing that we do definitely have to see is players being reminded by themselves and their teammates where their true positions are, and staying home to those positions. Because if you're moving from one side of the field to the other, wherever you're not at is wherever you're leaving a hole at, and that's something that could be exploited by the other team if they were to notice it.
And one thing I'd like to see out of the goalkeepers from a goalkeeper's perspective is a little bit more communication. It just feels as if those goalkeepers are kind of standing back there. Both haven't had to make any major saves so far, but if they were able to just kind of interject themselves into play a little bit more by communicating and talking to their defense a little bit more, then I feel like we could even see a very different game.
Exactly. Whenever each team is on the defensive and they're being attacked, it's that essential communication. It'll come up again and again and again, just because of how important that is. If you can simply tell your defender, your left back or your right back, that they have a player that they're not paying attention to, that could be the difference between holding off that goal or getting scored on.
And another thing I've been seeing out of both these teams is aggression. I feel like both teams have been playing very aggressively, nothing too major, but I almost would like to see them push a little bit harder, especially we were saying it on goal kicks, that both teams are kind of backing up a little bit and expecting those longer balls. But if we maybe saw a team try to switch it up and play a shorter ball and nobody was there, the defensive team would have that time to dribble the ball outside of out from the back and not have anyone on them.
Yeah, it is going to be that variety that could be very important for each team. They're essentially playing the same style of play during the whole game, and if the other team recognizes that, then they can exploit the consistency and exploit those holes that they have in their style of play.
And I feel like for the Springdale team, something that they could definitely take advantage of is their back, is their defense. We see them, as we've been saying, through those long balls and different things. They've been playing very offensively minded and very forward minded. If they were able to send that ball back, even to their keeper, to let them kind of dribble around and get everyone set up and take a couple of breaths before they start the play again, we might be able to see some more attack come in for that team.
Yeah, and one thing I will absolutely say is that for being the first conference game and being nervous and all those things, both teams are playing very, very well, very, very hard, and they both definitely have that quality. This could just be one of those games that is going to be a battle all the way to the end, and it'll be that single play that will make the difference.
And definitely, I think that that's also a good showing of how equal these teams are and how equal most of these teams are coming into this season. Is that we see these two teams that play very differently but are very evenly matched in those ways, and being able to, kind of stay with each other and fight and defend the best they can.
Absolutely, and that's actually reflected in their record as well. Springdale having a 3-3 record and Heritage having a 3-2 record, so very, very close, and that's reflected today in their play. So, as a varsity boys player for Springdale, I know that these are the minutes and about halftime of the game before you're really starting to hone in your mentality and what to expect from the game and all these things that the girls just had to go through before they started their game. So I can definitely say that that's what the Springdale boys are doing right now.
Yes, as a varsity girl player, the last couple of years, we've definitely whenever the JV boys or the JV girls were playing, we were getting wrapped if we needed to, or sitting there and maybe drinking, the last little bit of Gatorade or water from the bottle that we had, just really mentally and physically trying to prepare ourselves for the game, especially this first game. They're really just probably trying to sit there and just talk and figure stuff out before the game starts.
Yeah, and every player has their pregame rituals. Could you tell me maybe a little bit if what yours was, if you had one?
Of course. One of my big things, I would sit there and just listen to music until like the very last second. I love music, and I have a very unique style. I listen to a lot of different things, and so I would just play on my pump up playlist and just sit there. And I was one of those people that I really like to be left alone, just right up until I absolutely had to be talked to, just talk to the coach and get ready. I was just very wanted to be in my own head and just figure stuff out. And as a goalkeeper, I was getting the ball thrown at me or just bouncing the ball and just getting familiar with holding the ball. And if we were on a different pitch, just throwing the ball down and getting a feel for the ground and for the pitch.
I can't say my pregame ritual is the same. Mine was just a little bit more different. I would get a chicken burrito exactly 1 hour before game time. I don't know if that was beneficial to me at all. I just know it made me feel good, and that's exactly what I did.
A lot of times, my whole thing was just no fried food. I usually didn't like to eat a whole lot before, because sometimes I would get an upset stomach, especially from playing the goalkeeper and getting on the ground and stuff like that. So a lot of times I would probably just usually be drinking something, or maybe have a granola bar or something. And sometimes that affected me because I would get really hungry by the second half of the game and then start having an upset stomach. But I find that really interesting. A chicken burrito, that's so very specific.
Yeah, it was an every game type of thing, whether we were home or away. If we were away and we were going to be gone for a couple of hours, I'd go and get it, and I'd wait till exactly 1 hour before game time.
And see, I kind of did the same thing with the music, except I would just, if we were on the bus, people would be talking or whatever, I'd just be sitting kind of in the back by myself, just listening to music and just preparing myself.
And it looks like we're going to be starting the second half here very shortly, with each team starting 11, getting on the pitch and really starting to get themselves in their positions and getting ready to start that second half.
It'll be a kickoff for the War Eagles here. We'll get to see how they start the game and see what their plans are.
Now, how they start the second half will be very important to how they finish the game off. Again, both teams need to come out and keep on fighting it. Even after 40 minutes of continuous play, they need to be on their toes, and they need to be ready to go.
Alvarado there stopping that, what could have been a pretty dangerous attack there.
And absolutely is what we see. We see Heritage playing it forward very quickly. We have Springdale intercepting that ball. Both teams really did come out here second half, and they're ready to play. They're ready to go, and they are definitely energized.
Yes, definitely. I always found that halftime was just really a good time to kind of sit there and get your energy back and be ready to come out and play even harder second half. Springdale goalkeeper here, ready to punt it out. A good punt there by the keep.
Nobody seemed to get the ball on there. Avila getting a big clearance, cleared up by 14 for Heritage.
And that's going to be a throw-in for the Springdale team in a pretty dangerous area there.
Springdale again quick to play that ball. There shouldn't be a collision there, but the ref says play on. Another throw-in the deep defensive side of Heritage for Springdale.
As we see Alvarado there making that run in.
Picked up there by Heritage's 14, playing it out wide. Avila getting a header on it, but will be setting out of bounds, giving Heritage a throw.
And we're going to get to see what kind of attack Heritage builds up from this. And we see a foul possibly from
See
the
a
far
big
side.
ball sent in for Heritage. Aaron getting a header on that. Heather trying to get it cleared up field, but not being able to get it up. We have a foul here, I believe.
On number 4 there from Heritage.
No, on a set piece that's this far back from Springdale, what we can expect to see is, I would say, a big ball send up field, but what we can hopefully see is Springdale executing on their strong suit, which is playing it short and quick and moving together as a union.
Definitely. I mean, we have these three or four players back here that were also the other defenders that could have easily gotten that short pass there. Number 13 there getting the ball.
We have Heritage sending a long ball here.
Just going to be a little bit too much there for number 2, and goalkeeper's going to be able to get that with no pressure.
Again, what we see even very early on in the second half is both teams are sending in long balls, and that hasn't proven to work for them in the first half. So hopefully we can see a realization that it's not going to be working for them, and then they're going to need to attack a different approach.
Another run in there for Delgado.
Springdale playing it wide for Parsons. Will Parsons be able to maintain possession of the ball? It looks like
Yes,
she
she
is. She's
will.
cutting in. Playing to
Beautiful.
Heather. Heather trying to get a cross in, but not quite. Sending it way past the goal there, giving Heritage a goal kick.
And here's another thing like we were talking about. We see Parsons kind of staying up there, but nobody applying too much pressure there to the defensive back on this goal kick.
You see a fairly short ball that's going to be sent out of bounds, giving Springdale a throw in. Aaron Christie throwing in the ball.
See it there taking it. A little bit of miscommunication between her and Heather.
We see Heritage picking up that ball, playing it wide. We see here that that'll be an offsides. Now, it seemed like it was barely offsides, which would have been fairly dangerous for Springdale. Heritage would have picked that up with one defender on her back.
And we're going to see Arlene Delgado here taking those kicks. We've been seeing her take many of the free kicks, her and Karen Atuna.
We see Springdale kind of split here, half of the team pushing up and half the team staying back, leaving that midfield fairly open. Jessica Alvarado nonetheless still picking up possession of the ball, trying to send it deep. Yesenia sending a long ball, Parsons trying to reach it, goalkeeper picking it up with no problems.
Just a couple of steps off there for Parsons to be able to get there to the ball.
Yesenia trying to get a header on that, not getting possession. Number 2 for Heritage, not being allowed to turn from Aaron there. Alvarado getting a touch on the ball, trying to send a long ball.
It almost seems as if she was trying to tell Heather to go up the field so she could put the pass into her, but Heather not being able to respond quick
And
enough.
Tuna with a good interception there, stopping Heritage from moving forward on that attack.
That's going to be a throw in there for Heritage.
Now this is really where we get to see how much of an asset Karen Antuna is for the Lady Bulldogs. She's been very good at intercepting those balls and kind of cutting it and stopping them right in their tracks. Again, we see here Antuna intercepting that ball. We have Heather playing it to Yesenia. Yesenia not being able to turn on that ball, getting intercepted from Heritage. We have Avila dropping back. A long ball here from Heritage, and it is onside. 22 on that left side. Sending it in. We have Aaron Christie not letting Heritage get a touch on that with a good shield and turn, but getting kicked just as Heritage passed her. So we will have a foul here for Springdale.
I believe that was on number 2 for Heritage there, just clipping the back of Christie's leg. And Karen Atuna will be the one to take the kick.
Now, you see, this is where that communication was essential. Because Erin Christie was aware of the players coming on that far side, she was able to anticipate that player coming, shielding that ball and not letting Heritage get possession. We have Parsons here marked offsides.
This is going to be a pretty far up kick here for Heritage. This will be taken by number 14, who's been taking many of their free kicks tonight as well.
Sending a long ball, Yesenia just nicking the ball.
Delgado there being able to get the ball, and will Alvarado be able to get there? Yes, she will, and be able to play that ball down
Alvarado
the side.
maintains possession, sends the ball down the right side, just a little bit too far. Heritage is number 17, left back, kicking it out of bounds, giving Springdale the throw in.
And once again, we find ourselves with Springdale having that throw-in in those dangerous positions right here. And that'll be picked up by number 14 for Heritage, but getting back by Parsons, but then again cleared.
Sending a good ball there. We have Heather with the kick. Oh, that could have been very nice. Send it to the just right side of that post.
The
Keeper.
ref is going to call a deflection here, and we're going to have another Springdale corner kick.
Now that must have been a very close deflection, as it seemed to be just fine, but the referee says otherwise.
And something I noticed from Delgado right before she passed that ball to Heather was that it almost looked like she was going to shoot, and we'd been talking about wanting to see those long shots, but she decided to pass at the last minute.
I definitely saw the intention as well, and that's something that definitely is something that we would like to see more of. We see they're struggling to get possession. Heritage's goalkeeper getting her hands on that ball.
But a good ball in there, I believe, by Arlene Delgado off the bat.
We have it bounced once in the middle. We have Heritage picking up possession. Karen Antuna sliding just too early, not getting a ball there. Heritage is number 10, passing it to 22 on that left side, taking on the defender. Avila coming all the way back to not let her center it. One thing that we've definitely seen is Avila working very, very hard, pushing forward, dropping back to win back that possession. And again, we have another save here. But it will be a corner kick for Heritage.
One thing I really admire about this Springdale defense is the fact that they are able to get back very quickly. And we had Atuna that was, she missed that ball, but we had 3 or 4 other players that were already ready back and to play defense. And we have a substitution coming in here. I believe that is number 1 for Heritage.
We have the corner trying to get played in, but Springdale defender kicking it upfield. Heritage still maintaining possession on that left side.
And that's going to be a Springdale throw-in, which we're going to be able to see the Springdale attack here.
We have Avila pushing up, trying to fight possession. Yesenia pushing it up to Parsons. Parsons with no mark, coming on her back very, very fast. The touch will be just too long, giving Heritage the goal kick. That final touch is what proved to make it just hard enough for Parsons not to reach the ball, but it definitely was a good play. That final touch is what ended up getting her.
Which I feel like that also maybe could have been the fact that she felt that defender starting to come up behind her. She knew that that person was there, so she was going to try to get it and use her speed, but it was just a little bit too hard of a kick.
Absolutely. You could see that she was feeling that pressure of that defender.
We're going to have another goal kick here for the Heritage team. And one thing I've noticed here is their goalkeeper doesn't take the kicks, but she does come out to that 6-yard box there to probably be there just to make sure
Alvarado
that
setting a ball. Heritage seeming not to be able to get a good possession on that. Springdale with the throw-in. Now, one thing that has the potential to be dangerous, but we really haven't seen each team make something of it, is those throw-ins in the defensive half. We have Parsons here in the middle of the field. Heritage struggling to get that ball off of her. They definitely did. Got it upfield. 10 for Heritage. Fabiola pushing very hard.
Number 10 there using her speed.
Saving the ball from going out of bounds. She's very, very technical. Very good skill there. We have Alvarado intercepting it.
That is Ruth Duran, number 10 for the team, being able to keep that ball in there.
Avila here, cutting the defender, trying to pass it to the center, but intercepted there from Heritage's center back. Now, Springdale has been keeping it in Heritage's defensive half here for the past few plays, and we'll see how long they can keep it there and hopefully get something out of it.
This is going to be turned over and become a Heritage ball here.
Avila with the long ball.
Just stopped by number 17 on the defensive side. A good ball there. Parsons gonna try to run in onto that and stay there in the middle.
Now, really kudos to both teams' defensive players. They're all very quick to go and defend those balls and really cut a lot of the plays off that could be very dangerous. So both teams have been doing that very, very well.
And here's a difference we can see in the Heritage and Springdale defensive teams is we see that Springdale is over the half line right there, ready to, be there if the ball gets played wide. They're going to play it up.
Parsons there by herself in the middle, sending a long ball in. We have Alvarado trying to turn on the ball, looking up. We have a foul there right outside of the large box there.
And I believe we're going to have Alvarado here taking the kick. She has a wonderful foot on her. She's been taking the corner kicks for the team, and we're going to see what she can do here.
We have a short play here. Senton not getting a good hit on that. It was a very quick play, which I'm pleased to see Springdale doing to kind of catch Heritage off guard.
Yes.
Aaron Christie sending it upfield. Hitting it back to the center of the field is Springdale's midfielder. We have number 10 for Heritage getting possession on both Fabiola, sending a long ball, but Noelia picking it up again with no issues and no pressure.
One thing that I kind of just wish both teams would do here, speaking of that, is pressure the goalkeeper a little bit more. It just seems as if the goalkeepers have had a pretty easy time so far, both sides, and I'd really like to see the goalkeepers be challenged a
Long ball,
little bit.
Parsons' speed really coming in here, pushing pressure on Heritage's right back. Heritage's right back having to slide just to get that ball away from Parsons.
And once again, we're going to see the Springdale side here back on the attack. Aaron Christie, like we were talking about earlier, coming up to take that throw.
Now, one difference I have noticed between the two teams when they're on the offensive, whenever we have a big shot here from Alvarado.
Just a little bit wide there.
But one thing, as I was saying, that we notice a difference in both teams is whenever Springdale is pushing offensively, we see that their defensive line is significantly higher than it is whenever Heritage is pushing. Whenever Heritage is pushing, they tend to stay pretty separated from their midfield and offensive players.
Which I definitely feel like could be a pro and a con. That could, as Heritage stays back, like you were saying, they could almost be starting to play as two separate entities because they are so far apart. But also it could be good to try to keep those wide balls.
Long ball there for Heritage's number 22 on that left side with 3 players on her back, sending it across. No one there to put it in. Number 22 for Heritage did make a wonderful, wonderful run. There was just no one on that other side to put that in the net, and that could be one of the crucial plays that needed to be executed in today's game.
We saw Aaron Christie there with Heritage's number 5 being able to kind of keep her off that, which is really what stopped that ball from going in and being a goal.
Alvarado playing it to Yesenia. Yesenia sending a long ball. Heritage's center back stopping it.
Number 5 here, and Aaron Christie is going to get the ball in for a throw-in.
We have a big clearance here. Antuna missing the ball. Fabiola passing it back. Number 5 for Heritage getting it off of Antuna's feet, but we have Aaron clearing the ball. We have Alvarado here with the long ball, intercepted. Yesenia recovering the ball, sending it again long. Both teams seem to be really married to sending those long balls, and it's proven to be difficult for each team's forwards to really execute on that.
Both teams have such powerful center backs here that are not going to let anything through. They're like a brick wall. They're going to have to try to find something or maybe a hole or something where they're going to be able to get through with those long balls.
Absolutely. For both teams, we've seen very good center backs that have been able to cut both of those plays and long balls off.
It's going to be another throw in the attacking half for Springdale.
And Tuna putting pressure, not allowing number 5 for Heritage to get comfortable on that ball. Ooh, good play here from Alvarado, playing it to 6. Now we have
What
it
a
out
beautiful
wide to
ball
Avila.
through.
We have 2 players on the opposite side with open. Can Avila get the cross in? She gets the cross in. The Heritage's defender just getting her back on that, not allowing Springdale to get on that cross. Oh, we have number 10 here for Heritage running, and Aaron Christie trying to get back and get possession. We have a long shot here. Noelia picking it up, no problem. She anticipated the ball very, very well. We have number 10 for Heritage, who made that very dangerous run.
Yes, and I feel like that's something that Springdale's definitely going to have to realize now is that number 10 is very fast. So that's definitely something they're going to need to watch out for.
Absolutely. Since she's in the second half, she's really started to shine. She's come through. She's made several attacks on goal. She's made passes to attacks on goal. She's definitely something that Springdale's going to have to defend more aggressively and be more attentive to her.
Definitely, I feel like that would be a wonderful person to put Tuna on because she's right there in that aggressive, battled it out in the midfield.
We hear a long ball, Noelia anticipating and picking it up with no problem.
A yellow card being given to
Captain Alvarado speaking with the referee, trying to figure out why Heather got the red card, and
obviously over there, Coach Beeler is not happy about that because that from Gonzalez there was just, getting angry at the ref. That wasn't a soccer play. That was just a little bit of temper getting to her.
Absolutely, that's unnecessary from players if that's exactly why she did get the second yellow. Beeler here speaking with the referee now. My assumption is trying to understand better why Heather got that second yellow.
And we're going to see the Heritage team going in there to probably talk to their coach to try to figure stuff out. And it seems like Springdale's going to convene here in the middle and try to figure out what they're going to do with only 10 men.
This is very, very bad timing for Springdale to be down a man. This is going to prove to have an effect on their play unless they can kind of make do with what they have. But this late in the game, when both teams are pushing very, very aggressively, will definitely be hurting Springdale.
Yes, and Heather actually has been playing a pretty good game tonight. She's been there. She hasn't done too many just amazing things, but she's been very consistent and has been playing a good game.
Again, as we mentioned in the very beginning, passions are going to run high, emotions are going to run high, and players have to be composed during the game. And if they don't, we've seen the effects of it here tonight with Heather receiving a second yellow and being sent off, giving Springdale only 10 players for tonight's game.
Do you think we'll see any type of defensive or offensive shift with the fact that they don't have their players anymore? Do you think we'll be seeing a more defensive-minded team or a more offensive-minded team?
I can definitely say that Springdale will be playing a little bit more defensive. Maybe the story would be different if they were down by a goal, but considering that they're tied 0-0, I can see Springdale trying to hold it down just a little bit more. I don't see anybody up there besides Parsons, really, that's going to be attacking.
But in a weird way, we could also almost see this as a way of a booster for the Springdale side. They're down that man. They're going to be playing even harder and trying to get the ball up the field.
Absolutely, we can see that. It all really depends on how Springdale takes the situation. They could either kind of put their heads down and say, well, this is just going to be that much harder, or they can take it and they can flip it and give themselves that little boost of motivation that they could use to push them over the edge.
But just one thing that the Springdale team is going to have to remember is to play smart and play safe, because if we lose another player, then
Heritage here on the attack. Heritage not getting a touch on that.
Number 10 just missing it there.
Yesenia trying to get that ball there. Heritage keeping it in bounds. And now we have a throw in for Springdale. Again, that situation that happened with Heather hopefully will be a reminder to not only the Springdale team, but also to Heritage to kind of keep their composure. Again, neither team can afford to lose a player anymore. So hopefully that'll be a reminder to all the players that they need to keep their composure and really just focus in on performing in tonight's game. We see Heritage here pushing very, very hard, and Springdale working very, very hard on keeping it out.
Just barely out there, and we're going to have a Heritage throw.
Yeah, we can definitely see the effects of Springdale being down a player. As we see here, they're pushing very, very deep in their defensive half. The only player that they have up top really is Parsons, and maybe Avila and Alvarado, but nonetheless, they're pushing a lot further back than they have been the whole game. If Springdale can turn the tables really and try to stay in Heritage's defensive half, maybe we can see them having to worry a little less on defensive maneuvers, unless, again, there's a counterattack. But if they can kind of focus on keeping the ball on Heritage's defensive side, then maybe the situation of being a player down won't affect them too much.
Definitely, I feel like we see them playing a very defensive game right now. If there was some ways that they could kind of get through a little bit and make a couple more.
Springdale playing a short goal kick, 22 for Heritage, picking it up very nicely, being one-on-one there with Antuna. Antuna defending it very nicely, giving Heritage the corner kick.
This is definitely a place where we could see being down a man really hurt the team, is that fact that we might not be able to see as much man marking as we usually do. We see Parsons coming in from that 50-yard line, coming in and right around the 20 on number 14, making sure she can't make those runs where Heather would have been.
Noelia picking up the corner very nicely. She's going to wait and allow her players to push up so they don't have to worry so much about being defensive, at least for this goal kick.
Wonderful ball there.
We have Parsons here against the world, being one of the only forwards and waiting for her team to catch up on those long balls. Now we see Springdale pushing up with 3 players and not coming back fast enough. We see Heritage here, Fabiola intercepting that ball.
She's going to get that ball
with
and
the
play
big
it up.
clearance. That was very important. One thing that hopefully we can see Springdale adjust for is that whenever they push up, we have Heritage here, number 22, Noelia sliding, Antuna sliding it out, and Noelia picking it up.
And the ref is not going to call that a back pass because that definitely was not intentional. She was trying to get that out of there as fast as she could, and Noelia was just able to get her hands on it.
Absolutely, and we see Karen Antuna here covering her position very, very well. When we have the goalie push out wide, we see Karen Antuna dropping back very deep to cut off those passes, which is exactly what she did. Okay, now what we can see here is Springdale is pushing up on this offensive half, and one thing that they really need to focus on is dropping back as soon as they lose that offensive edge, because if they get a counterattack with numbers down, that will be very, very dangerous.
Definitely a little bit of a collision there.
Alvarado coming up on top, not even rumbled, and 14 for Heritage, getting on the ground and then standing right back up. Avila here fighting it with 25, who sends it out wide, and Heritage isn't able to maintain possession.
I think one piece of play that's been critical tonight has been those throw-ins. I mean, both teams have had a surplus of them, and I just really wish that they would capitalize on those throw-ins a little bit more than they have.
I absolutely could not agree more. Both teams have had a lot of throw-ins this whole game, and if they were able to make something more of those throw-ins, that could be what puts one team over the other, especially whenever a game's this tight.
Beeler over there's making a motion in frustration to his team, saying, "Where were you for that?"
We have offsides for Heritage, giving Springdale the ball.
Pretty far up once again, right around the, I would say about 42-yard line or so.
Seeing that Springdale is pushing up with Parsons, Avila, Alvarado, and Yesenia, is that they're running short on time and they're really trying to get one.
I feel as this is where we could possibly see this team start to take that more offensively minded side to it. even though we have them trying to play very carefully and safely and defensively, but we could definitely see them start to attack a little bit more. Oh, they're going to call this a Heritage ball. Oh, now they're going to call it
There seemed to be
a Springdale ball.
miscommunication there between the AR and center referee, but ultimately Springdale does get the throw in. As we see Springdale pushing a little bit more aggressively. Now, while that could help them to get a goal, it could be pretty dangerous if they get a counterattack. Avila with a backwards header.
And number 17 there to get it and kick it out of bounds and put another throw in a dangerous spot here.
Now, this is really where we want to see Springdale maintain the ball. They want to keep it on this side so they don't have to worry too much about being defensive, especially in the last few minutes of the game. We want to see teams pushing and really trying to get a goal. Avila looking around for help, not seeing many options, cutting back.
Being able to keep that ball in bounds and get it to Alvarado. Beautiful ball up from
We
Alvarado.
have Avila running down the right side, 14 for Heritage. Rebounding it off of Avila, battling it out in that corner there, and we will have a goal kick.
Sometimes, like Avila showed, sometimes you just need to get that ball out of bounds if you know that you're going to be stuck in that position. It's good to get it out of bounds so the play can start again. And we see all of the players shifting over to this side because the Heritage team is going to kick the ball from on this side.
We have Heritage trying to get possession of that ball, but Alvarado getting the last touch on that. And Springdale trying to send it out wide to Avila, but just a little too wide.
And once again with Delgado, we talked about this a little bit earlier. It seemed like she really wanted to shoot there out long, and
Offsides for Springdale giving Heritage the ball.
Like I was saying, I wish that she would maybe take one of those shots and just see if we would be able to capitalize on that.
I mean, in all reality, it won't hurt very much at all to just take your shot at it if you feel comfortable taking a shot. We have a long ball here. Aaron Christie looking to be the first to touch it, getting a header on it. Karen Antuna getting possession, sending it upfield. But absolutely, if a team were to take a long shot, it could just end up being a goal, and that would give them just what they needed, and they would push back and just defend for the remainder of the time.
Yes, definitely.
Heritage with the long ball here.
We see in the last couple minutes, both teams just kind of scrambling.
20 for Heritage, taking a long shot. Noelia picking up possession, and Heritage is forward running into the keeper, and will be receiving a yellow card.
That is, I believe, number 2 for their team. That is Kennedy Coons there receiving the yellow card. And I mean, just something like that is just not allowed. You know, that goalkeeper is there and protected. She even had the ball in her hands. That she is 100% protected. That just was a little bit of maybe she just wasn't able to stop herself in enough time.
Yeah, I mean, we were hoping to see forwards kind of challenge keepers a little bit more,
Yes.
and that could have been exactly what she was doing, and just wasn't able to stop herself in her tracks. And I mean, it happens. Noelia seems to be fine, and the player did receive a yellow card to kind of warn her to back off just a little bit.
And I mean, in all honesty, here with Springdale playing down a man, they're not playing too bad at all. I mean, they're definitely playing very defensively, and they're getting a couple of opportunities up the field.
Absolutely. It doesn't seem to be affecting them too severely. They're compensating for that player down very, very well, and it seems to be working in their favor.
See Arlene taking that ball, a beautiful ball there, but being able to stopped by number 20.
And Christy, I believe, being the last one to touch the ball, is going to try to clear it upfield, giving Heritage a throw in again. And we have 22 here for Heritage, crossing another ball, and no Heritage player there to capitalize on that. That's the second time that 22 sent a clear ball with no defenders for Springdale, yet no Heritage player was able to be there, recover that, and ultimately put it in the back of the net.
Definitely, I feel like that's one thing that Heritage will need to improve on is their backside players. I mean, there's been so many opportunities there, and we haven't seen anybody capitalize on that.
Especially in games like these where it's very, very close, and those half goals are really need to be capitalized on, and it will make all the difference in the game.
We have another throw in here for Heritage.
Heritage maintaining possession, 22 again, trying to take a long shot. Noelia barely getting a touch on that, sending it right past the goal, getting a corner kick for Heritage.
That was a crucial save there by Noelia. That was a really nice way just to get her hand up and make sure that ball did not go into the goal and send Heritage ahead.
From what I could see, it almost looked like a last-minute reflex. She wasn't able to completely get composure and grab the ball. She just threw her hand up, but luckily that was more than enough to get it out of harm's way.
Yes.
Heritage here with the cross. We have players on the ground. We have Yesenia on the ground, and it will be a goal kick.
Looks like the ref didn't see too much harm in that, just maybe a little bit of a knock whenever she went for the ball.
Antuna with the goal kick.
Nice little deflection there from Fabiola.
Springdale really needs to get it upfield. We have Alvarado getting a header on that. We have Aaron and Karen Antuna, and we have Heritage not being able to make that comfortable cross, giving Springdale the goal kick.
Christy and Antuna did a really good job there to kind of double team her, but not too overpowering, but just enough to kind of mess her up a little bit there in the end.
Yep, it was just enough to throw her off balance and not able to let her give that cross comfortably.
And we've been talking a lot about how far back the Heritage defense is playing, but also if we look at their goalkeeper, she is still in the 18-yard box. And for me personally as a goalkeeper, I like to come out a little bit, maybe even to that 15 or 20 whenever the ball's on the other side, just so I'm there if they need to pass the ball back.
Springdale with a long ball. Parsons running it down, chasing it down to Heritage's number 17, putting pressure on her back. And a corner kick. We have 17 having to kick it for a corner kick for Springdale. Now, in these last few minutes of the game, Springdale really could capitalize on this. They need to take every opportunity they can get, especially with the player down. We have Fabiola pushing up. We have everyone except for 3 defenders for Springdale. Now Alvarado sending a ball. Nice ball there. Yesenia getting a header.
Just over
the goal. The effort was there.
And we're going to have a substitution come on. That'll be, I believe that is number 1 there coming back into the game. Yesenia there to...
Their players seem to be, Yesenia is asking for a handball, and number 4 for Heritage is asking for a push, but ref gave neither.
See another throw in here.
Aaron with the header. Parsons dropping very deep to try to get that ball. Very nice recovery there. And we have a foul here on Parsons for Springdale. Now that's one thing that Springdale does do very well. Even their offensive players drop back to get possession of that ball, and they move forward as a unit.
Definitely. I feel like that was a very strategic move by Parsons there to come back and get that ball and gain possession of it, and even that foul at the end. That was a really nice way to try to keep Springdale up in the attacking third.
Avila again trying to push and get that ball off of that Heritage defender. Heritage getting the ball upfield, but not very comfortably, and Alvarado intercepting that. Yesenia putting pressure on the ball. Alvarado possibly getting possession. Not comfortably at all, getting intercepted. Avila dropping back either way to try to get possession. Heritage sending that long ball, but Fabiola will be sending it upfield, and Alvarado will be recovering it upfield.
She's going to play it out wide to nobody being there. Yesenia was back a little bit too far to be able to get up there to that ball from Alvarado.
Heritage keeping it in, taking Yesenia on, not once but twice there, passing it to the center. Alvarado getting a cut there a little bit out wide. We have Avila slipping, it looks like, Coming back, falling. Heritage getting a long ball in. Noelia getting her hands on it, but it did slip out the first time, but it was nothing to worry about. It fell right at her feet.
And something there for Ayala was the fact that this pitch, like we've been talking about, is very, very slippery. So I feel like that probably was definitely what happened there. She just slipped a little bit and wasn't able to stop herself.
We have a foul here on Springdale, giving Springdale a free kick.
We're going to see the teams, their offensive players start to push up a little bit there.
4 players specifically seem to be pushing up, and that being Alvarado, Avila, Parsons, and Yesenia. Sending a long ball, that being intercepted by Heritage. Heritage is number 10, who's proven to be dangerous, not getting possession of the ball, losing it.
And Delgado has been playing some really amazing foul plays there and some kicks. And I just really wish that Springdale's side would capitalize on those. She's been very deadly tonight with those balls, but Springdale just hasn't been able to capitalize. Delgado to Yesenia is going to play it into the middle. Number 17 is going to intercept.
Yesenia getting that ball wide again. Can she keep it in bounds? And she cannot, giving Heritage the throw-in. Karen sending the ball upfield for clearance. Heritage playing it back. Delgado getting possession there, playing it wide to Parsons. Parsons trying to keep it in field.
Just barely missing it there.
Again, it's those long balls that make it very difficult for each team's forwards to catch up to.
And we see on the opposite sideline over there, we see the Springdale boys team getting ready for the game, standing there watching the girls, supporting them, and we see the Heritage side still over there warming up, getting ready.
Karen Antuna with the clearance, number 5 for Heritage, nicking it backwards. Heritage with the big ball up forward. Karen Antuna passing it backwards. Fabiola recovering and sending it upfield.
We're going to see a throw in here for Heritage.
And Heritage playing it very, very quickly. It being fought for there. Sending it in. 5 for Heritage. Missing the goal very, very closely. Just right over that top bar. And no Springdale player was there to take that away from her. And again, this is the 3rd time now that we have Heritage with a very dangerous cross-in. But this time we actually had another player for Heritage able to get a touch on the ball.
Which I definitely think Springdale's going to have to be watching out for now, because it seems as if that's going to kind of be Heritage's plan of attack for these last few minutes, is they're going to be trying to cross that ball into the middle and have someone there ready.
Both teams playing very, very quickly as soon as they can with the clock running out. We have Parsons here trying to get that ball. A foul here on Parsons.
Yes, and I'm not really sure how much of that I would call a foul or just number 6 tripping, but the ref does say that that's a foul, so we will be having a free kick.
Alvarado picking up the kick, not maintaining possession though. Number 1 for Heritage. 2 Springdale players are down, but the ref says no foul. We have Heritage dribbling down the middle. Fabiola just getting it off of her feet, and we have a foul here on Fabiola, giving Springdale the ball.
I feel like we've been talking about Springdale's defense knowing when to jump in, and that was a beautifully done job by Fabi. Just knowing that she needed to stop the ball then and there, whatever it took, and she did. And got the foul in the end.
Absolutely. We see Springdale coming at the very last crucial seconds to clear those balls, and that's exactly what they're doing, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
A really good kick there by Delgado, but nobody there to capitalize.
What we really see here is whenever this game is starting to come to a close, and each team, as soon as they get any ball, they're just pushing very, very hard. The referee checking his watch. Parsons here on the right side, dribbling, goalie coming out, not maintaining possession. Parsons running back to try to get it, goalkeeper diving and saving the ball. And that is full time. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Springdale Lady Bulldogs tying 0-0 with Heritage. And far into the second half, we had Springdale losing a player, being a man down, and still holding their own and to hold on to that tie.
I feel like this was a very well done job by both teams here to play and be ready and be defensive and offensive at times as well. And like you were saying, it was really great to see Springdale be able to keep up that momentum even though they did lose that player.
Absolutely. I mean, we had both teams playing very well, attacking and defending very well. Kudos to Springdale, though, for being able to, again, hold their own. That's especially in a game like this, it's so close. That could have been detrimental, and they were able to roll with it, roll with the punches, and the result is they were able to keep the tie.
I definitely think that the MVP for tonight just goes to Springdale's entire defense. They were playing really, really well and making those crucial stops and just knowing when and where to be, and it very much paid off in the end.
Absolutely. Both teams were defending very well, but then again, Springdale was getting attacked more, and yet they were able to counter that and stop that every time. We had a lot of key players in tonight's game. We had Avila, who was dropping a lot to defend those balls and pushing forward to give her team some attacking opportunities. We had Alvarado getting a possession of the ball a lot in the middle.
And here we see that the game is going to go to PKs because if you didn't already know, conference games, if they are ending in a tie, they will go immediately to PKs. And this, as a goalkeeper, I know the PKs are probably the worst part of any game, just knowing that, you know, it's you and a player. There's nobody there to stop it and 12 feet away from you, and it's you and the person in the ball.
Absolutely. We come into the end of full time with a tie of 0-0. So again, as you just said, we're going to go into penalties, and this is something that kind of depends on luck and skill and everything, really. Nerves are really hyped up at this moment. I mean, the entire game could be on your shoulders if you're a keeper or a player trying to shoot those goals. So we're definitely going to see how each team handles with that pressure and that stress, and what's going to be the result of this.
For Springdale last year, their PKs were one of their strong suits. They practiced the PKs, and Cynthia, the former goalkeeper, was an amazing PK saver. She just knew, like, the Springdale team actually beat Bentonville last year in PKs. They just had that way of knowing to do a PK, and I can't wait to see Noella come out here tonight and just show us what she can do, because we haven't really gotten to see her be challenged too much, and the other goalkeeper as well. Just come out and see them be challenged and see what they can do.
Well, I can guarantee you will be seeing them put to the test. You'll see Noelia here having to stop multiple penalties, and it'll definitely show us what she's made of. This is definitely not easy for any goalkeeper whenever you have multiple players just a couple of feet away from the goal and taking shots right at you.
Yes, and sometimes this is honestly one of the most heartbreaking ways to lose a game. Just the fact that, you know, you weren't able to stop that penalty or you weren't able to make it. It just really hurts sometimes whenever you in the game, and you might feel like it was your fault in the end.
The penalties will be taking place on the right side of the field. We see Springdale has chosen their penalty takers, and so has Heritage.
I believe we have out there for Springdale, I believe their first penalty taker will be Alvarado here. And if you don't know how PKs work, what's going to happen is there is 5 in this first round, but if we end up to where we've gotten to 4 and the other team hasn't scored any, then we will stop and then the game will be over from there.
It's essentially sudden death when it comes to penalties, and here we'll have Heritage's number 20 taking the first PK of the night against Noelia.
This is Lainey Knight here. She has been a really crucial player to this team, and I can't wait to see what she can do here.
She runs up, takes the penalty, and make it in that bottom left corner. Noelia not being able to dive. She went to the right side, but she just wasn't able to pick that up, so that's going to put Heritage up 1-0. And yes, you were right. We do have Jessica Alvarado taking the first penalty of tonight.
And it really hurts because Noelia, you could tell on her face that she knew exactly which way that ball was going and just was not able to get there.
Yeah, we have Alvarado here taking the first penalty for Springdale. And again, this is crucial whenever they scored their first one, so it's really on you to score your first one. We have Alvarado running up to the goal here, setting it very composed, very nicely with the inside of her foot, passing it to the right side, left the Heritage goalkeeper in her tracks. She did not move. Wonderful, wonderful PK. We have number 1 now for Heritage taking the second PK.
Yes, this is HAR-BER coming up here to take the PK. We saw her coming in and out throughout the game and just really, once again, being a big part of this Heritage team. And Noelia is going to be back out here, and she is going to be ready for blood because of that first PK.
Right now, both teams are tied 1 when we have Heritage taking it again to that left side, and we have Heritage 2-1 in PKs.
So we've seen so far that both of Heritage's players have gone to the left, but that does not mean anything in this game. We could have somebody change it up at the last minute. It's all based on player preference, really.
We have Avila here taking the second penalty for Springdale. All these players that are taking the penalties were all crucial players throughout the entire game. And again, now they're being crucial in these very, very important goals here. Avila walking up very calmly right underneath the keeper. Heritage was very, very close in getting that.
Yes.
She dove and went right under her arm.
And that's one thing about being a goalkeeper is you just have to have that split-second reaction time and just be ready.
Both teams now going in 2-2, 2 for 2 in penalties. Number 6 for Heritage now.
Yes, this is Josie Stilt, once again a really crucial player for Heritage tonight.
Heritage with a wonderful PK there. She shot it with a lot of power up there. That really, you can't really ask for much more on a penalty. That was wonderfully taken.
I actually thought that was going to go over at first. It looked like it had that trajectory to go over, but at the last minute kind of dived in and went in.
I mean, you can't, the keeper there really couldn't have done much. It was just a great, great shot. Yesenia here, 25 for Springdale. This is very, very important. She took one step, very comfortably puts it in that
Yes.
left side. We have a great, great penalty matchup here. We have 3 for 3 for each team.
This is just really where you can see both teams just really standing and just hoping and praying that they're going to be able to, one team's going to mess up or somebody's going to stop the ball.
Now that we're 3 for 3, this is sudden death. These last two are very, very important.
We have number 15, Felicity Oxer here.
Crossing into that right side again, very composed, much like Jessica Alvarado's penalty, just calm with the open, with the inside of the foot to the right side of the net.
I just think one thing that both teams need to remember is that these kicks do not have to be pretty. They don't have to be anything special. They just need to go into the goal.
You're exactly right. It has no difference whether it goes in inside out, backwards. It doesn't matter as long as it ends up in the back of the net.
And here we have number 6, Arlene Delgado, taking it. Oh,
we have the
no.
first miss of the game. It is all on this penalty here.
And this is where, as a goalkeeper, you start to feel those nerves. You know that if they make this PK, it's all over.
We have Arlene missing the first penalty. We have 17 for Heritage here. Noelia is really feeling the pressure now. This goal is essential to Springdale to stop. It could all end right here. Very calmly putting it on the right side. That's Heritage with the win in penalties, 4-3. I will say this was a great, great penalty shootout. Both teams executed it very well. It's just one of those things. Even the best players in the world have missed penalties.
Definitely.
And if I were Springdale, I would not feel bad at all. They
No.
fought a very hard game. Even in penalties, they stood toe-to-toe. Very, very good game. And next we're going to have the varsity boys and play against the Heritage varsity boys.
Yes, I'm actually really excited to see this matchup of a game because we have two very good sides here. Springdale and Heritage both have, last year they both made it through the tournament. They both played very, very well. I can't wait to see what comes of it.
And now this game's a little bit later, but temperatures seem to be roughly the same. The pitch is, I would assume, dried up a little bit. It hasn't rained in quite some time. Let's go into the current record of each team. We have Rogers Heritage with a record of 3-2, and we have Springdale with a record of 1-2. They are yet to win a game.
Which, that just almost makes them want to play even harder, because we have a teacher who likes to say an underdog's a hungry dog, and we definitely see Springdale, showing that tonight. They're going to come out ready and fighting.
And again, I had a conversation with Beeler before the start of tonight's game, and he was telling me that they played very, very well in the games that they've played. They went to Jinx, and they played a very, very good team. And he's feeling good about the team and how they've been performing. And again, conference is a totally different animal. We have teams coming out here and putting it all, everything that they've been working on since August comes really down to this. This is where everything shows.
And another huge asset of the team that's actually missing tonight is Captain Jose Vega. He's been out with the flu all this week, and he just wasn't able to make it tonight, which I feel like it's going to be very interesting to see the different steps they take to try to figure out what to do without him.
Absolutely. He's a very, very key player for Springdale. Last year he was Gatorade Player of the Year, if that goes to tell you anything. He's a very big asset to Springdale, very good player, and Springdale's going to have to adjust to that and wish him well on his health.
And as a former player of this team, Mark, what do you want to see out of Springdale tonight, personally?
I personally really want to see them come out the gate swinging. They really need to get their first game. There's no better game to get your first win than your first game in conference. It's really important that you get yourself in the right mindset. It's really this game that sets the pace for the rest of your season. So if you can come back from the records that you've had playing against really, really good teams and come out here and just work together very well, I expect nothing less from Springdale than to work very, very hard.
Definitely. I feel like this team is just a team that is really, really well put together. They work really well together, and it's going to be interesting to see whether or not they're going to be able to capitalize on the fact that they're kind of coming from behind. What is your favorite story from being on this team previously?
In my personal experience, my favorite memory that I have with Springdale is whenever we played Edmond North. We were one of the top teams in the country. We performed very, very well. We lasted all the way to penalties. We actually won in the penalty shootout, and I personally, that's one of my most memorable moments. We played a very, very good team, one of the best in the country again, and Springdale was able to hold their own and play a very good game.
Yes, and I know this Heritage team is also a very, very well put together team as well, so I'm definitely going to be interested to see the battling there. We see the warm-ups. Lots of long balls being kicked over here by Springdale, and we also see the other team kind of working together and just passing and playing some monkey in the middle there.
Yeah, what we can really tell by the warm-ups is each team is really focusing on passing and moving, their movement on and off the ball, and that's something that we hope to see from both teams.
So I feel like one thing that Springdale is going to have to remember is even though both the varsity team just lost in PKs, they're still going to have to keep that memory out of their mind and say, you know, this is a different game, this is a new time, we're going to have to go for it.
Absolutely, and that even translates over to the varsity boys. If they just saw their counterparts play a great, great game, even fighting it out to penalties, hopefully that'll give them motivation to kind of turn it up just that little bit more, to kind of perform and do just as well as the ladies did.
Yes, definitely.
We have Beeler bringing in the team.
Probably just kind of talk to them and say, hey, it's time, it's now or never, guys. Once again, we see kind of the same thing with the girls where some of the team is going to come out and take some shots on the keeper while the others play possession.
Now, in my experience in having played for Springdale, I know that Heritage is a very, very good team as well. They're going to come out here, they're going to compete, they're going to fight very hard, they're going to give Springdale a run for their money, and that's really what we want to see. We want to see two teams battling it out all the way to the end, and I really do expect that from this game for both teams to just play very, very hard and to really give us a show.
Yes, and I know that it's always really good whenever you first are starting in this type of tournament and conference that you want to play a tough opponent to start off, just to really kind of set yourself up and get ready for it. And I feel like Heritage is a very worthy opponent that's going to play really hard and, you know, put us in some tough situations.
I agree very much. And as we were talking about earlier, Jose Vega won't be playing tonight's game, so we're going to have to look for a replacement for him tonight. What I can expect to see is either Nelson Barroso taking his position. He's a very good player as well. we'll see him and how he can try to recover for Jose.
We see the girls' team starting to pack up here. Heritage is walking on the field, coming over to the other side. Just one thing I like about both of these teams' warm-ups is that they're both constantly moving. They're never stopping. They're moving and just making sure that they don't get too caught up in whatever's going on.
Yes, that's very crucial in these moments where you're warming up. You need to be active at all times, getting those muscles really worked up. They're going to be needing that later today when they're working very, very hard.
Yes, definitely. We have to remember that this is an 80-minute game here, the constant 80 minutes, and so it's going to be really, really hard on both of these teams to kind of come in and just be ready and play.
Absolutely, we should be expecting them to be playing 8 complete minutes of. I would even call it a war. You're just trying to get there, be the best you can be defensively, be the best you can be offensively. Really communicating with your players, and what we saw the ladies doing is communicating, and that helped them a lot. Hopefully, we can see is the boys doing the same on both sides. It's really that much of an advantage. It really does help that much, and hopefully we can see the boys picking that up and from watching the girls play and really executing that during the game.
And I really do hope that we do see out of both these teams some sort of a diversity between the plays. You know, with the last game we just watched, there was not a lot of diversity and difference in the play, and I just really hope that we can see these teams come out and do something different and interesting each time they attack.
Yes, I'd really like to see a more dynamic play, everybody moving and just really changing things up a lot. That's something that I expect from both teams. I would like to see them bring in variety, make it a lot harder to defend.
And once again, as we see over here for the Heritage sides, they're practicing those long balls so they'll be able to switch across the field.
We see Springdale here really testing out their goalkeepers and ripping a couple of good shots. Ooh, what a great finish there.
And another big thing, a big asset lost to this team other than Jose Vega was actually their starting goalkeeper. He broke his arm very early on in the season this year before they even started playing, and he's been a really huge loss, and so it's going to be interesting to see those other goalkeepers stepping up and taking that position.
Absolutely, and they have another goalkeeper actually who fractured and broke his foot, and that's something that Springdale definitely hopes that they don't have to use. The goalkeeper they'll be using for tonight is Abraham Cordero, and we definitely hope that he's able to play the whole game and that Springdale doesn't have to rely on another goalkeeper that has been injured.
Yes, definitely. We see, once again, almost like we were talking about with the Heritage Springdale ladies sides, is we see 2 very different styles of warm-ups happening right now, and I feel like that definitely will change the pace of game and the play of game throughout the game.
Actually, what I find interesting is that the boys seem to be doing a very, very similar warm-up than the ladies were doing, where they have one team practicing a specific exercise, and on that far side we have the starting 11 playing and in a short confined space, and on the other side of the field here we have a majority of the team standing in lines, look like to be doing 1v1 defending and then shooting, and 4 players really practicing those long balls.
Yes, and I feel like this is just the possession over on the Springdale side is just a really good way to get that starting 11 kind of familiar and ready with each other, because a lot of times, sometimes if you're trying to do some sort of big shooting drill or something like that, it's really hard to connect with the rest of the 10 that you're playing with. So it's nice to see or I guess really the starting 10 field players over there kind of getting ready and playing with each other. And
Absolutely, and that's something that we can hopefully also see on the boys, just like we done on the girls, is having to play very, very good teams and building that bond not only off the field but on the field, and being able to communicate better with each other, and hopefully that what is going to be expressed in today's game as well.
Seems that Coach Beeler's called in that starting 10 over there to kind of talk to them and figure out strategy for the game.
Yeah, he's just giving them an explanation of what he's going to be looking for tonight, how he wants them to execute it. Again, we should be expecting a lot of the same things as we did in the girls' game. It's high nerves, high intensity. This is going to be another battle. I would expect it to be. It's going to be a lot of the same factors.
What kind of stuff did Beeler kind of talk to you about in those huddles, those last-minute huddles right before you guys started playing?
Well, whenever I was playing, I would remember he'd tell us, first of all, our formation, what he was expecting of each player, and how he wants us to move in that formation. So, given a specific scenario, how he would want us to adjust to that.
We can just see the last minute of warm-ups kind of starting to come to an end here, and
I can also guarantee that Beeler's over there talking to his team and telling them exactly what we've talked about today, about the nerves being there and how they really need to focus on their performance. And it's more than just what they can do on the field, but also what they have in their mind and everything that they do leading up to the first whistle.
definitely this soccer is just as much of a mental game as it is a physical game. If you go into a game not feeling like you're going to be able to perform well, then you probably won't perform well. So he's probably definitely over there talking to his team and saying, hey guys, just calm down, play. You guys are great players. You guys can do this.
And I actually see Jose Vega dressed out. I can't guarantee that he'll be playing or starting in today's game, but I do see him dressed out. Again, Beeler was letting us know that he was sick for an entire week for the flu, so he's dressed out. He's here. I don't know if he'll be starting today's game.
But I definitely do think that if he does start today's game or will be playing today, use him very sparingly because of that fact of coming back from the flu. I know that it's very difficult to come back from illness, and so I just hope that he'll very much take that into consideration whenever he's choosing who to start the game. We see some players out there stretching, just getting ready for the game.
I was actually fortunate enough to have the opportunity to play with a lot of the guys that are still currently on the team. I've experienced Jose Vega. He's a very good player. Nelson, Gilberto Razo, Danny Maldonado, Javier Solis, Irving Sotero, Jorge Avalos, Silvestre Martinez. I played with a lot of these guys, and I can tell you that they're very hardworking. They're gonna definitely show up in tonight's game, and we can expect to see them really working. They have the experience of playing varsity games before, and it's definitely gonna help them tonight with being their first conference game and all.
Seems both teams are coming in for last-minute huddles, talk, and get everything ready, and got the refs out there about ready to call up captains, figure out who's kicking off.
Now, Claire, what do you expect to see in this game, and what do you how would you compare it to what we saw in the ladies' game?
I definitely feel like we're going to see a lot of the same thing from both teams. I feel like we might even see a little bit more aggression, but from the teams, since this is a boys game, it's going to be a little bit more tough and rough. The refs are going to let them play a little bit more, but I feel like we're going to see a lot of the similar things. Except the only thing I really feel like we might see from these teams is a diversity, as we were talking about earlier. I feel like these teams both are very both very intense teams that can do a lot of different things. You saw the Heritage boys down there practicing those long kicks for those switches. So I definitely feel as if we're going to be seeing some diversity in their play and their attack, which is something that we lacked in the girls' game.
Right now we see both teams actually participating in a group prayer. The captains meeting just ended. Springdale with their 3 captains going back to their group. They huddle up. They're really starting to motivate each other and trying to get into the right mindset. I guess one thing that we can really expect from both teams is a greater speed of play. They're going to be playing, again, with that more intensity, they're going to be playing a lot faster and a lot harder. And
I feel like that also maybe could, as for Springdale, it could be the the fact that they didn't have that tournament this weekend. You know, they're going to be able to play a little bit faster and be stronger than the girls were able to.
So for Springdale's starting lineup, we have Jose Vega actually starting in today's game. He will be still recovering from having the flu. We also have Rene Racinos playing, so Lester Martinez in the back. We have Jorge Avalos also in the defending. At center back, we have Gilberto Razo, Danny Maldonado playing right mid. We have Nelson Barroso in the midfield.
We see both teams coming out here just last minute prayers and, you know, stretchings and just making sure that they're ready for the game.
We have Irving Sotero and Jose Vega. We have a ball played far back. We have a big ball sent in. That's not something typical that I'm used to seeing for Springdale, but I'm definitely interested in what they're doing. Jose Vega playing very nicely on that side. We have a foul there. That's something that was quite interesting to me. The first play they did was they passed it short, played it deep, and then sent a very deep ball.
Yes, definitely. And we see, like you were talking about just a few seconds ago, we see the speed of play being so much faster than the girls. I mean, we're already, you know, we're just a couple seconds in and we already have a foul.
We have Jorge here setting a long ball from the 20 yards in. Springdale looking to get a header on that. Jose Vega not getting that. That will be a goal kick. We have Sylvester playing right back, Gilberto center back, Jorge left back.
And we were talking about this earlier in the girls' game. We see the goalkeeper playing a short ball here, which we were talking about could be beneficial.
We have a long ball right away from Heritage. Jorge anticipating the ball very well. Gilberto sending it out wide. And the formation that I see Springdale playing is a 3-5-2. They're really stacking it up in the midfield. That's what they're really looking to dominate. The two up top would be Irving Sotero and Jose Vega.
And I feel like those two together are a really dynamic team. They work very well together, and they both have moves and are very quick on their feet. So I feel like it's going to be a very difficult match there for that defense.
Absolutely, those players are very, very fast. It's something you have to pay attention to throughout the entire game. We have another deep kick here from Jorge. Setting a big ball. We have Jose getting a header, flicking it backwards. Heritage playing it up, playing down that left side. Heritage doing very nice on getting that deep ball, it being intercepted. Throw in here, Jose Vega.
And they're going to say that he didn't throw the ball all the way over his head there, and it's going to be a Heritage ball.
We have a turnover here then on the throw-in.
And one thing, like we were talking about, I noticed the Heritage team coming out and being very aggressive towards the Springdale team. Like we said, we've had those two fouls already. They're very much in it to win it, and they're going to play as hard as they can.
Absolutely, both teams are going to come out swinging to get that first win of the conference. We have Irving winning the ball there. Javier playing to the center. Nelson playing out wide. We have Danny Maldonado on the left side, sending it to Jose Vega, who is on sides. Oh, Jose Vega, one-on-one with the keeper. There seemed to be a collision.
And it's going to be
a penalty
PK.
very early in the game. That's something that comes with whenever you have a player putting pressure on that goalkeeper. It's very dangerous there for the goalkeeper to come out
Definitely.
so aggressively, and we see what results of that. We're going to have Jose Vega taking the penalty here very early on in the game. Put beautifully on that top bar, very composed. Jose Vega, even with having been sick for the flu, coming to perform, definitely showing up and finishing that penalty beautifully.
Devin doesn't look like any sickness is going to stop him. He is ready. He is fired up. He's prepared to win this game, whatever it takes.
Absolutely. And now we have Heritage, who's going to have to come back to that, and they're going to have to deal with being down by one so very early on. Don't get me wrong, there's still plenty of time
Definitely.
for the game to develop, but it is definitely going to be affecting their play and their mentality whenever they're down so early.
We saw the goalkeeper actually right after the PK immediately calling for his defense to come in so they could have a chat and talk about what they needed to work on for the rest of the game.
And that's something I'm glad to see, that they're communicating. That's something that is definitely going to help them out. It's something that's essential to playing the game. We have Javier cutting very nicely there in the center, playing out wide.
Beautiful ball down the
We
side.
have Renee bwonderfully recovering that ball, playing it down the center. We have Irving just barely missing that post. We have Springdale being very, very aggressive on that offensive line. That's the second attack they have here, and they've gotten very, very close.
I definitely feel as if that goal probably has definitely boosted the morale of the Springdale team. They're ready. They're like, we just need more. We need to score more.
We have Heritage here running down. Ball will be going out of bounds.
It's going to be Heritage ball here in a pretty dangerous area.
Already in the few minutes of this game, we've already had some very, very intense moments, and I'm very excited to see what the rest of tonight has for us.
Definitely.
Sylvester intercepting the ball, giving it for a throw-in. Having to play back to number 10 for Heritage, looking to give that long ball there. Nobody's able to get a header on that. Abram, the goalkeeper, was able to understand that, let it go out, no problem.
And I almost like the fact that he did let that ball go out of bounds instead of trying to stop it, because number one, he could have not completely caught it and it gone out for a corner. But also, two, sometimes trying to play those PKs or the throws can be really difficult, and a goal kick is just a really nice way to restart the game.
One thing that really stands out to me is that Springdale's keeping themselves very, very wide, and Heritage has a tendency to kind of crumple up there in the middle. We have, referee says play on. Jose Vega taking it down the middle, having a great shot there, having another goal for Jose Vega. Jose Vega definitely showed up to play today. He's coming up, took on that midfield, took a wonderful shot with his left foot and put it right up in that left corner.
We definitely see this. We see the flu definitely not stopping Vega. He's probably missed playing because he's been out. He's ready to play. We're now 2-0 Springdale, which very early on in the game, but that definitely means that there is that much more time for Heritage to come back.
This is 2-0 now, Springdale up against Heritage. And let me tell you, this is it's a very good start for Springdale, but I wouldn't get too confident. We have Jorge there with the header. Danny playing it out wide. Javier with the big ball. Danny Maldonado chasing it down, getting possession past that player. We have him still fighting there. That defender still trying to give him a hard time. Danny crossing it wonderfully.
Number 16 there playing it back into Vega, who's going to get stopped by a defender.
Irving cutting nicely, playing back to Javier.
He's going to play
Javier
a beautiful
saying it
ball
back in, and that's going to be an offsides.
I feel like that's one thing that the Springdale team's going to have to watch out, is being a little bit too overconfident. You know, those boys, they were very far off sides, and it's just the fact that they're up 2-0, their confidence probably will become a factor in this game.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be hunting for way more goals, but this can be a very dangerous position to be in, being up 2-0. If Heritage is able to get one, then they're just one away from tying, and that's definitely going to boost their morale. So if they really want to get a good seeding to be just a little bit more comfortable, one more will definitely be crucial. We have Nelson there with a wonderful turn, looking up that left side, playing it to Danny Maldonado. Danny Maldonado passing it back to Nelson, then the center. Nelson playing it out wide. No offside. Heritage nice and recovering that ball. Nelson sending a long ball. There seemed to be a miscommunication of whether the forwards were going to push on that ball or not, but we see Springdale being very, very hungry for another goal here.
One thing I really like to see out of the Springdale defensive side is that the defense is playing up pretty far. Their wingers are going up the field and being there as an extra person.
Gilberto Razo getting that ball very nicely, headering it, not allowing Heritage to get a ball. Irving Sotero stopping that ball in its tracks, cutting very nicely. Javier picking it up in the center, looking to see who his options are. He's playing to Danny Maldonado, who's just playing it. The ball was played too far back. Danny wasn't able to get a good touch on that ball. Heritage now with the throw-in.
I believe we have a sub over there getting ready on Heritage's side, or maybe somebody trying to get a little bit warmed up and get ready to come out here because maybe they think that they need to put in something different just to try to stop this Springdale attack.
Yeah, we do have a very early substitution, and if I had to venture to say, I would say it'd be to try to put a little bit more defensive pressure on Springdale. Heritage here with the long ball. Abram picking it up, no issues at all.
He's going to tell his team to get up and go get ready for that attack again.
Yeah, he's sending them very high. Springdale's going to be playing very high for today. Very good ball from Abram here. Joel headering it, intercepted there by Heritage.
Up into the stands.
Joel with the throw in. Plays it short to Javier. Javier playing it to Irving. Nelson picking it up. Able to get it to Danny Maldonado. Danny Maldonado getting a shot in, and that's another goal there. Danny Maldonado on the left side. That's going to be 3 so early in the first half.
We see a bit of a celebration there from Springdale's team. We'll probably be seeing a yellow card being issued here for excess celebration.
That's to be expected. I mean, it was full of emotions. It was a good goal, but it's what you should expect whenever you do a celebration like that.
Definitely.
But I don't blame him. It was definitely a great finish.
So we're going to see him come off, and we're going to see a sub going on to take
Beeler's
his place.
talking to Danny, kind of not too happy the fact that he did that. That was completely unnecessary. Beeler's, of course, understanding, but definitely not pleased with the fact that there was no reason for him to get that yellow card.
Definitely not.
Heritage playing very high, trying to send that ball wide. Nelson with the ball here, playing it wide.
And almost through the play, we can almost see Heritage's frustration a bit through this play because, you know, they're down 3-0 very early on in the game, and it just almost feels as if they just aren't clicking the right way like they should be. We have a foul here for Heritage.
Heritage is pushing up very high, even though the ball is pushed far, very back. Heritage getting the last touch on the ball, getting control, sending it back in the middle. Nelson getting a header on that. Heritage setting a long ball. Yeah, we can definitely see the desperation that Heritage is having now. I mean, they're down 3-0 very early. They're just trying to get something on that. They're sending every ball they can all the way up. I see here Irving communicating with Javier. That's something that I really am pleased to see them communicating. Even if they are ahead by 3, and they're pretty comfortable so far in the game. Them not forgetting to communicate, that's still something so essential. Nelson playing up.
That's one thing I really do enjoy about this Springdale team is that even when they are up 3-0, they're still going to play a very smart game. They're going to communicate and talk just like you would if you were down 3-0. They're gonna play just like you would play any other game.
Absolutely, that's crucial to this game is composure. We have Heritage with the long ball here. Roberto Razzo covering the ball, letting his keeper pick it up. Abram picking it up with no problem. That's, again, great communication. That's not even verbal communication. He just gives a look to the keeper. Keeper realizes he's just going to cover that ball, comes out and picks it up. Very nice.
And sometimes in the end for a keeper, that's all you need to see is just that look to know that, okay, this person's going to send this back to me and it's for me to get.
We have a deflection here, giving Springdale a throw in. Joel picking it up, passing it back to Irving Sotero with high pressure. He's getting it down. Try to give it a ball down the side to get Joel a cross in, but it was just too far.
We have a goalkeeper switch early on in the game here. It's going to be very interesting to see what the difference may be between these two keepers.
Yeah, I mean, the Heritage's coach definitely is doing the substitution in hopes to give his team that defensive advantage. So we'll see what exact impact this substitution will have.
Good kick there by the goalkeeper, but taken away by Springdale.
For Danny Maldonado, I believe is Gabriel Guardado. I do believe he's the one taking his position there. Jose not being able to get past that Heritage defender. Heritage struggling to pass comfortably. Springdale is really making it difficult to turn on the ball and give them a good pass.
And the ref is going to say that that is a throw-in for Heritage there.
Springdale with an interception there. Heritage trying to get any opportunity they can. Very good play. HAR-BER passing it out of bounds, it being deflected off of Jorge.
But it definitely feel like this says a lot about the Springdale defense, the fact that Heritage is playing so hard now and trying anything they can. The Springdale defense hasn't let them get anything yet.
14 for Heritage, dribbling very nicely down the midfield, it being picked up. And we have a foul here for Springdale.
Once again, whenever that desperation starts to set in, we also start to see the fouls start to come more rapidly. So I feel like Heritage just needs to remember to keep that composure and just know, this is very early on in the game. They can get those 3 goals back.
Heritage pushing, Javier dropping to try to defend that ball, not make it easy for them. 15 for Heritage, cutting back, setting a long ball. Jorge getting a header on that. And HAR-BER pushing it upfield, dribbling, center back playing it upfield, moving forward with the ball. We have Irving cutting, it getting intercepted by Heritage. Heritage playing it back. Goalkeeper slipping.
Barely able to get it out of there before, I believe that's Jose Vega was able to get there.
Christian, the coach for Heritage, is obviously frustrated. He's grabbing his head. It's the little things really that are coming to punish Heritage. It's moments like these where that goalie slipping could really mean it just getting more worse of a night for Heritage.
Definitely.
Throw in for Springdale. Nelson playing it upfield. Keeper picking it up with no problem.
And just one thing I really like about the Springdale team is that number 9 there was ready. He was running. If that goalkeeper would have barely bobbled that ball, number 9 would have been there.
Yeah, we can see a lot. Number 9 there for Springdale is Rene Recinos, and we really do see him pushing really, really high on both the goalkeeper and Heritage's defense. We have Sylvester here bringing the ball with time until he gets stepped on with some pressure, and that'll be deflected for a throw-in.
It's also very nice to see that while Heritage is down 3 and they're trying to be very offensive, they're also playing very defensively as well. That number 15 made a very defensive thought there with kicking that ball out of bounds, even though there could have been an opportunity for him to
Irving
get it.
Sotero getting a goalkeeper there. Jose Vega, 3 defenders on him, sending a great ball. Deflected just enough. Danny Maldonado.
Barely misses, barely goes by the goal.
Danny Maldonado coming back into the game. Hopefully he got what he wanted for tonight and he can settle down. He has to be careful now that he already has a yellow card.
Definitely, we don't want to see another something happen with like we did in the girls' game where the person got a red card for no reason.
How would you like to see Heritage kind of react to being down by 3 in the first half already? And how would you like to see Springdale kind of deal with their composure?
I definitely think for both, like you said, is composure. We have Heritage who are probably now thinking very, offensive-minded, just trying to get those goals back. But they also need to remember that, while you're trying to score, the other team's trying to score too. So they have to make sure to keep their defense up and ready and just battle and fight. And for Springdale, once again, like I said, composure. You guys are up by 3. You don't have to have 10 goals to win a game. You just have to have 1 more than the other team. So I feel like they also need to remember to play defense and stay on the Heritage side.
We have a foul there on Sylvester for Heritage.
It looked like he was just grabbing number 9 there a little bit too much. Then the ref decided that wasn't fair.
Now we have a set piece here for Heritage. We have a free kick.
And we saw number 10 over on the other side, I believe around the 40-yard line, make it all the way to the 18-yard box. So he
Absolutely.
has a very deadly kick on him.
He didn't seem to be focused or to get the right foot plantation for that shot there, and he just sent it to the left side. Definitely not what he was wanting to do, but it is what it is.
And once again, kind of like just what I was talking about, that composure. You know, he was just trying too hard to get the ball where he wanted it to go, that he just didn't hit it right.
Abram sending the ball, Javier getting possession, but Heritage being very quick to get that ball back.
And the rest are going to call play on that. Really nice defending there by Heritage.
We're seeing a little bit of more tension now just on the play here. There seemed to be a small collision there between Irving and number 25 for Heritage. And we can expect to see more of that with emotions running high and frustration.
Definitely.
Danny Maldonado coming back to defend the ball, getting possession, playing it out wide, hoping that there would be a player there, sends it out of bounds, giving Heritage a throw-in. Jose Vega intercepted there by Heritage. 15 for Heritage coming down the left side. Trying to send that long ball there, but Abram was able to anticipate it and pick it up.
And another thing that we definitely need to take record of is the way that both these teams battle in the middle. These teams are both very well to battle in the middle, and especially on those PK, on the kicks, the punts that the goalkeepers are making. Those teams are both very, are both fighting and they're trying to get the ball.
Absolutely. With every ball that's being sent up by the keeper, we're having both teams fight it out to get it in the middle. We currently have the wind blowing to the north, and it doesn't seem to be affecting the game too much, but it definitely can affect those long balls. Javier picking up a ball there. Heritage fighting. Javier still getting possession of the ball, sending it out wide. Heritage being able to pick it up, playing it back to Irving. Irving trying to cut that player, not able to do it. We have Heritage now on the counter, but Springdale dropping back, very nice. Jorge cutting off the ball, playing to Nelson. Nelson looking for his options, just playing it up to Rene. Javier getting in the center. We have great wall passing here from Springdale. We're having a lot of communication that's non-verbal.
Definitely. Which is really nice to see, especially with them being up. Sometimes that the communication can be lacking once you are up and just kind of playing, But I definitely feel like they're keeping that communication verbal and nonverbal up, which is really nice to see.
We have Roberto there covering the ball very nicely, setting up Jorge to play out wide to Danny. Danny looking for his options and setting a ball there to Irving. Irving cutting out wide. Great cut there. Setting it to Jose Vega. Jose Vega on the left side, setting a cross in, and we have Rene not being able to get a good touch on that ball, but that was a great cross from Jose Vega.
If Rene would have been there just a second earlier, we could have definitely seen 4-0 very easily.
Absolutely, that timing was just off, just by a smidge.
And just a shout out to Jose Vega for being able to move so quickly, and he was moving so quickly down that line that the defense wasn't even able to keep up with him.
Exactly. This is what we were talking about beforehand, seeing that transition of play where we see players passing and moving, and then all of a sudden seeing a long ball and seeing players move very quickly, throwing the other team off guard.
Definitely.
Heritage throwing a long ball. We have a foul here flagged by the assistant referee. The foul will be for Heritage.
I'm going to have to guess that this was an off-ball foul because I personally didn't see anything wrong with what happened, but it probably was something just off the ball a little bit.
Yeah, they was the one who called that and notified the center referee. Looks like we're going to try to treat this like a free kick. Abram measuring the ball just perfect, picking it up with no problem.
Once again, he's going to tell his team to push up as far as they can, and he's going to play that long ball.
Playing it out wide. Joel not being able to get the ball. Heritage sending it upfield. 15 for Heritage, sending it down just too far. Now, one thing I am seeing from Springdale that I would like to see changed is the fact that they're still trying to get goals. They're up 3-0. One thing that they should really be trying to focus on now is maintaining possession of the ball, passing and moving. That should be their main focus. But every single ball that we see getting sent up is for goal. That's something that maybe Springdale shouldn't be too focused on.
Definitely, because as long as the other team doesn't have the ball, they're not going to be scoring. And so if they can keep the ball by passing and just moving the ball around within themselves, then I feel like they don't even have to score any more goals if they're able to keep the other team, if they're able to keep the ball. AR calling for offsides, but the center ref calling it off.
There seems to be a handball called on Springdale, giving Heritage a free kick very, very deep at the 10-yard mark of their defensive half.
But like we said, their players have really good legs on them, and so
We see Renee dropping back very deep. Jose Vega picking up the ball, playing it out wide to Renee. Renee and Irving, the ball just wasn't set up quite good enough for Irving to pick it up. Heritage is now on the counterattack, dribbling all the way back. We see Joel and Javier dropping back to try to get off the ball. Still maintaining possession of the ball, 15. Dribbling very nicely, just wasn't able to get past.
and number 15,
Sylvester.
12.
15 getting possession. He's been fighting very hard to get possession. Irving with the wonderful backheel pass to himself, playing it wide, and that's going to be an offsides.
And I feel like that was a very good eye of the AR there to catch the offsides, because I personally didn't even see it whenever it happened. So it was very good eyes to notice that.
Yeah, it was a very quick play. You have to be paying attention. Very, very good to catch those small things like that.
And we're going to have a throw in for Heritage. It looks like Beeler is getting a couple of subs up at the half-yard line there. Get ready to come in.
Roberto intercepting that ball in the middle. We have Jose Vega dropping back to try to get possession. Player tried to take it off of him, just wasn't able to get it off of Jose Vega. Jose Vega here maintaining great possession. What a great through ball to Danny Maldonado coming
ball.
back. Danny Maldonado getting.
And that is going to definitely be a foul there.
The referee says it was right outside of the box. It is not going to be a PK, but he does give a yellow card to Heritage's number 5.
I feel as if Heritage's player there was just trying to stop Danny from moving because he was moving so quickly and in front of him. He just was like, I just have to stick my leg out so that he'll not be able to get to the ball.
It's one of those fouls that sometimes as a defender you just have to make. It's either take one for the team, get a yellow card, or possibly concede a goal. And I think that that's exactly what that defender was thinking, because Danny had all the way to go. If he got that defender off of him, he definitely had a long path in who he could take it to.
So we see Springdale getting ready for the foul kick here. Going to take this shot and barely miss it outside.
That was Danny Maldonado there, trying to get another one for himself. Just wasn't right on target. Nonetheless, a great shot.
And once again, we see Heritage taking that short kick out so that they can build out from the back.
We have Joel Guzman being substituted for Jesus Aldaco.
And it seems like now that they're having to retake their goal kick, the side has decided to take the long kick instead.
Yes, and we actually have Jose Vega off the field now, being substituted, and Nelson taking his position. And the player to take Nelson's position is Gabriel Guardado.
That's going to be a foul called on Springdale. That was a bit of a head-to-head collision there. One thing that I really like to see here is that even though Springdale is up 3-0, all of their people are still getting back to defend, just making sure that, they keep it at 3-0 and not at 3-1.
Jesus Aldaco here receiving the ball, playing himself out wide, looking for that deep ball, sending it and getting intercepted by number 12 for Heritage. Nelson dropping back to get it back. Oh, and there seems to be a little bit of a of a confrontation there. We have Nelson bumping into another player. Javier coming back.
And
That'll be a yellow card for Nelson Barroso. Javier coming in as a captain, trying to tell his teammate to relax and to calm down. Again, tensions and emotions are going to get very, very high. And that's really the captain's job, to kind of let everyone calm down and really settle their minds.
So that means now we have 2 players on yellow cards for this Springdale team and 1 player on a yellow card for the Heritage team.
Yeah, one thing we really want to see is, as the saying goes, cool head and hot feet. You really want to keep a good mindset and relax and be composed, yet being very quick on your feet and being able to think quickly.
Definitely. We see a ref having to talk to the coach, who seems a bit agitated about the fact that one of his players got a yellow card.
We have the center referee speaking with the assistant referee on the right side.
Probably talking about exactly what happened and making sure that the bookings and everything go in correctly. And we're going to see number 8 getting ready here to take that foul kick for the team.
Again, they're going to be playing this very, very deep, trying to get something out of it in the first half. And we had a potential there, and it's going to be a goal kick, deflected last off of a Heritage player.
That was a really wonderful ball in by number 8 for Heritage. Just nobody able to capitalize on it.
Absolutely. And just a few minutes ago, right before that free kick was taken, I actually saw the goalie speaking to one of the coaches for Heritage. I'm sure he's telling him something about how to manage his team, as he's the one that sees the whole field.
Definitely, whenever I would play keeper, a lot of times the coach would ask me, what are you seeing? What do you think needs to change?
Biel Sylvester trying to clear that ball, but sending it into the stands, giving Heritage the throw-in. We have a poor throw-in there. It seemed to slip out of his hands. Rene losing possession of the ball. Jesus sliding. And that's Heritage's throw-in.
Looks like number 11, they were trying to call for a deflection from the ref, but he did not take it.
Sylvester falling, but getting back on his feet just in time to get it back. Jesus Aldaco trying to get that ball. Great overturn. Now we have Irving Sotero with a no-look pass to Rene. Rene not being able to get it. Heritage's defender being great on keeping that from being crossed over.
Quick throw in.
Deflected there. And now we have Irving Sotero looking back. Javier passing it to Danny. Danny getting it intercepted by Heritage. 15 for Heritage again, who's been proven to be a dangerous player. He's very good at dribbling, very, very quick. Playing it down wide. We have Heritage trying to get that ball just too wide.
And that's one thing that Springdale is going to have to worry about, is those counterattacks. They have a very quick team on their hands with Heritage, and so they're definitely going to have to work very hard to make sure that those counterattacks don't turn into something more.
Absolutely. Just like Springdale's offense is very, very quick, so is Heritage, especially on those counterattacks. So Springdale's going to have to drop back very, very quickly and be very good at communicating who and when they need to drop off. Rene getting possession of that ball. Irving dribbling. Irving and Rene. Rene getting stopped by that center defender who slid and took that ball very good. Sending a long, long ball. We have Gilberto Razo getting a header on that. Javier Solis trying to fight for that ball. And it will be a throw-in for Springdale.
Long
throw-in for Irving. Again, no offsides on throw-ins. Irving just not being able to dribble past him.
I believe that's going to be Heritage ball there.
It, in fact, is. Gilberto Razo with the big ball upfield. We have Rene trying to get possession of that ball with 2 defenders on him, holding him, still being able to maintain possession, and that's going to be an offsides on Springdale.
I was talking about this, right? Whenever they actually just scored their first goal, to talk about offsides, it seems like Springdale just is getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, trying to score extra goals, and are getting themselves caught offsides.
And I know we have a lot of Spanish viewers that are tuning in to watch this live stream. So just kind of a quick recap. El Springdale está ganando 3-0 Rogers Heritage, 2 goles de José Vega y uno de Danny Maldonado. So that's just a quick recap of the score that we have going on so far. Javier Solis getting the ball in the center. We have a foul on Heritage.
Number 15 for Heritage getting a little bit of a talk from the center ref there.
Jorge getting stepped on very quickly by that defender, that forward, excuse me. And we have Springdale with that ball on the left side, sending it in. We have Renee not being able to get a strike on that, but either way, it was offsides.
That's definitely one thing Renee's going to have to be watching out for. It seems like he's been, the last couple of those offsides have been on him, so he's definitely going to have to be able to watch and make sure that he's even with those defenders. A back pass here.
Lo que podemos ver es que Heritage está bien frustrado a estar bajo 3 goles en el primer tiempo, y lo que queremos ver es que Heritage regrese y pelea con Springdale para todos esos balones, y Springdale que mantenga su mente y que juega el juego que saben jugar. Irving Sotero getting the ball back there. Jorge getting it back, getting it taken away, though, from Heritage. We have players fighting for it there. Heritage running down the middle. Ball played out wide, cut off very beautifully by Sylvester and Gilberto Razo. They're cutting off the forward wonderfully, giving their keeper just enough time to come and pick it up.
That's something one thing that I'm really liking is the relationship between the defenders and the keeper. There's a feeling of trust between the two. Like they just know that they trust each other to know that they'll get the ball or the other person will be able to clear it.
And I can speak to that in my experience in playing in high school. The relationship you have with your teammates and your defenders is just something special. You guys are always fighting it out. Everything you guys do, you have to have each other's back. And that's something that I really do miss about playing high school soccer for Springdale, is that communication. Another offsides here on Irving Sotero. That'll be well over 3 offsides now for Springdale. They really need to be having an eye out for that. They are getting a little bit too excited on those long balls.
And just once again, to the assistant ref for being able to spot those, because the game is moving so quickly, and just being able to call those. And
long ball, Sylvester there just getting it off his shoulder. We have Gilberto Razo coming back to defend it. Heritage deflecting it off of Gilberto, not being able to get past him. That's just enough for Springdale to come back and be able to defend. Now the throw in here for Heritage.
looks like there might be a long throw in, and there is.
Heritage trying to get a shot off of that. Jesus Aldaco getting a good clear. Irving Sotero getting that body very nice.
It just barely getting off, barely going over the line.
We see Irving using his body very nicely there to try to shield the ball and get possession. Unfortunately, he just got it off out of bounds, but nonetheless, a great effort. Heritage there being stepped on. We have Jose Gonzalez running down that side. Just wasn't quick enough to get that ball back. That's 17 for Springdale, Jose Gonzalez.
But now we're going to have a Springdale throw in here in a very dangerous area.
Jesus Aldaco playing to Danny Maldonado, playing back to Jesus Aldaco. Javier losing possession. Will Springdale be able to get it back? They do. They play it back to Jorge, who has some pressure, sends it upfield, and we have another offsides.
I bet for Beeler, this is just very frustrating to see his team keep getting offsides, because there are being some really great plays that are being made. It's just being a couple steps offsides that just messes all the play up, you know.
Javier Solís, Daniel Maldonado, Jesus Aldaco, Daniel Maldonado, llevándose el defensor muy bueno, fuera de lugar. We continuously keep on seeing offsides here, and it's something that Springdale really needs to pay attention to if they want to capitalize on those offensive attacks.
And definitely, like we were talking about earlier, it's Heritage has some very good legs on their team that can get the ball down pretty far. So eventually, one of those offsides kicks could become something more and probably possibly become a goal.
And let me tell you, I am really, really glad to see a consistency and quality of play. It's not like Springdale got comfortable at 3 goals and stopped fighting for it or anything. They definitely stayed hungry. They definitely kept the same rhythm and pace, and they're definitely still definitely in the game. And I'm glad to see Heritage coming back and really giving Springdale a hard time after they've gotten their 3 goals.
Definitely, and I feel like that's just a testament to the way that Heritage plays. Is even though they are down that 3 goals, they're still playing and still fighting like it's 0-0.
Sylvester playing it back to Roberto, who's going to have a man coming, playing it out wide. Very nice communication there. Jorge playing it out wide. Back to Jorge, looking for his options. He's getting stepped on pretty hard. Javier, Sylvester, that's a very dangerous ball. Luckily, we got no injuries in Sylvester. Danny Maldonado taking the ball, setting it across the field, and another offsides here from Springdale. It seems like every single attack that they've had in the past 5 plays or so has been offsides. They really need to start watching that.
Definitely, and I just feel like they just need to kind of calm themselves down a little bit. I know that it's very, exciting to be up by those 3 goals, but still you have to keep that composure and just maintain, a constant pace.
Beeler is definitely recognizing, questioning why they keep on getting marked offsides. And we see a lot of the players saying that it's the opposite side of where the ball's at that's giving them the offsides. So hopefully that they recognize what's giving them the offsides so they could fix it. Danny Maldonado fighting for the ball there, getting it back. Heritage having to play it back. Irving Sotero putting pressure on that center back, getting the ball back. Danny Maldonado playing it out wide. Jose Gonzalez fighting to get possession, and it's going to give Heritage the throw-in.
Looks like that ball might have slipped out of the player's hand there just a little bit. He looked like he wasn't very happy with that
Oh,
throw-in.
we have to see we have a dangerous ball there. It looks like Danny tried to get a touch on the ball, putting his foot in there, and he got cleated.
And also a Heritage player down as well.
Absolutely. The referee calling the trainer to come check out both of the players. Both seem to be in pretty bad shape.
It looks like it is the foot of the Springdale player, and I believe the side or the calf of the Heritage player.
Heritage player getting up on his feet, trying to walk it off. Seems to be doing all right, but Springdale's Danny Maldonado, again, just now on his feet. I believe both players will be able to continue on their playing.
It looks like number 11 there had some sort of, for Springdale, had some sort of wrap around his foot, his ankle already, and it was around the same spot where he got hit, so that definitely probably really hurt and was nerve-wracking for the team.
It looks like Danny's going to have to come off for that injury, but when he's ready and when the referee signals him on, he can come back on. But I don't think there's going to be any substitution for him. But he will be coming off the field.
And we have another player coming in to take the spot of number 25. And we actually do see a substitution here.
That is Johnny Miranda coming in. Now, I've also played with Johnny. He's a very, very quick player, very technical, and I expect to see him cover that position very, very well. Jesus Aldaco playing it down line. And that is halftime, ladies and gentlemen. At halftime, Springdale is up 3-0 that they were able to get very early on. 2 Jose Vega, 1 Danny Maldonado against Heritage. We definitely see the effects of that. Heritage being a lot more frustrated, and Springdale trying to keep their composure and their mentality and being very comfortable, going very comfortably into their second half.
What is something that you personally want to see from the second half for both of these teams?
I definitely want to see consistency again. Springdale, I don't want them to get too comfortable into this, going in with a 3-0 lead. I'd like them to see the same team come out, still maintain their composure again, and I'd like to see Heritage really just trying to keep on getting goals. They've been pushing, making it harder for the second half of the first half for Springdale to pass comfortably. I'd like to see Heritage come back and still keep on fighting. Estamos a medio tiempo del partido. Tenemos a Springdale ganando por 3 goles, 2 por José Vega y 1 por Dani Maldonado. Heritage va entrando al segundo tiempo frustrado, pero me gusta todavía cómo andan trabajando para ganar esos otros goles. Y quiero ver a Springdale que no se confíen, que está arriba por 3 goles. No quiero ver que se frustren. Yo quiero ver que siguen trabajando por todo eso. We definitely see Springdale here at halftime, just kind of trying to keep in the same mentality. Again, walking off to talk with Coach Beeler, and we see Heritage since the very beginning of halftime, huddling up very closely, speaking with their coach. And I know their coach Christian is giving them a good talk, trying to get them to, of course, never give up, and to trying to give them pointers on what exactly they can do.
I definitely feel like both teams are getting very different speeches right now. We have Beeler, who's probably telling his team to try to keep the composure and try to, especially with all of those offsides there in the second half of the first half. They just at one after another, he's probably telling them, guys, you can calm down a little bit. It doesn't have to, we don't have to be trying to score 10 or 15 goals this game. We can keep it at the 3 and just keep them from scoring. And for Heritage, I feel like their coach is just telling them, keep playing and work really, really hard and really diligently. I mean, they're having a really good game. It's just that some of those goals, they just can't capitalize on those opportunities.
I absolutely agree that these teams are getting 2 totally different speeches, and it really does rely on the players. Regardless of what their coaches are telling them, they have to be kind of responsible for their own thinking and their way of playing. They kind of really have to hold each other responsible here. If they see that some of their players are starting to get too comfortable in the game, we really need to rely on those captains to kind of keep everybody in check and make sure that they just keep on playing their game and that it's been working for them.
One thing I've been loving so far from both teams is the intensity. We were talking about this around the beginning, saying, we've definitely felt like the boys team was going to be more intense than the girls teams, and I definitely feel like that's true. Right off the bat, it was very, very quick and very fast, and these teams are both coming out with a vengeance, and I feel like in the second half, we're going to see Heritage playing even harder than they were before, trying to get those goals back.
Oh, for sure. We definitely see the greater intensity, the super fast speed of play, and I guess now that both teams have really gotten their nerves, that's if Springdale had any coming into the first half. They definitely kind of settled. We see Heritage really kind of balancing things out, so we really expect an even more intense second half with Heritage really fighting to get some goals.
And I definitely feel like the halftime came at a very good time for both teams. We had Heritage, who were kind of probably feeling down and out about being down. And we had Springdale, who had, like we were talking about, just those offsides and just not being able to capitalize on plays. I feel like this was a good time to kind of be able to sit down for a second and just think and talk.
Absolutely. This is going to be really important how they come back here. Again, I really can't stress that enough. Although, yes, a 3-0 lead into the second half, I don't blame Springdale for getting comfortable. I mean, it definitely is something that isn't very typical, but that does not mean it's the end of the game. They still have another 40 to 45 minutes left to play. I mean, it's definitely not over yet. I mean, talk about a great way to start off your season.
Definitely.
Springdale hadn't had a win yet, and they still don't. But they definitely are. They definitely came out here to play. They're playing hard, and this could be the first win of the season, and this would be a great game to be your first win.
Definitely, I feel like if Springdale does keep the lead that they have tonight, I feel like it's going to be a huge confidence booster because we see this team that's usually a very successful team. We see that they're coming in with this losing streak, and it's really nice to see them not letting that losing streak get a hold of them and really just playing their game. And hopefully, they'll be able to keep that consistent throughout the rest of the season.
And in regard to both home teams, I can say I'm thoroughly pleased with how both have played. The ladies came and they gave a really good full-time match, and then they still fought it out in penalties. And now we have the varsity boys coming out here, giving a wonderful, wonderful first-half performance, getting a 3-0 lead going into the second half. They can kind of focus more on their passing and their moving, the small technical things rather than trying to push high and get those goals, and that's something that we hope to see in the second half.
Definitely, I feel like, and another really nice thing that we saw from Springdale was the fact that even though they were up 3-0, they weren't letting that change their game. It was staying still very consistent, as you've been speaking of. They're staying so consistent with the passing and everything they're doing. They're not trying to play any differently than they would if they were, tied 0-0.
And I know that Heritage, of course, they're going to be trying to tie up and try to come out on top, but at the very least, I know they're going to not want to go home with 0 behind the net, so they're going to want to at least try to get one tonight. Go home with none goals in their favor. So I know they're going to at least try to get that, but that's something that we can expect to see more Heritage pushing more aggressively, and that's just going to open them up. The harder they push, that's going to give Springdale an opportunity to kind of take that into consideration and try to get more goals if possible.
Seems like both teams have finished their huddle and are finishing up last-minute things. All we need now is the ref, and we'll be ready to start the second half.
To start off the second half, we have Rene Recinos up top with Irving Sotero. In the midfield, we have Nelson Barroso, Javier Solis. We have Jorge Avalos, again playing left back. Center back, we still have Gilberto Razo. And we have Jose Vega back in the field. He's going to be playing left striker. He's back in, and we can expect to see him perform hopefully just as good as he did in the first half. He came out and was definitely ready to play. We have Gabriel Guardado as left midfield. On that, for right mid for Springdale, we have Joel Guzman on that right side, and we have Gabriel Guardado on the left side, and the two midfielders that we have are Nelson Barroso, Javier Solis, and Irving Sotero are going to be attacking mid.
I really like that Beeler has kept in a bunch of his starters that he started with, because sometimes you see coaches that once they're up by a couple goals, they're going to start putting in their second string team. But I'm really excited to see that Beeler is still saying there's definitely that opportunity for Heritage to come back and start playing, and we know that Heritage has the skill, so I'm really happy to see that the first string team is still in.
Absolutely, and if I had a guess as to one of the factors as to why Beeler's doing that is because it is the first conference game. He doesn't want to seem like that this is something that it's easy to give up. There's still definitely a chance, like you were saying, that Heritage can come back and really fight it. I mean, ever since I've played in high school, Heritage has been known to work until the very, very last whistle. And if Springdale starts to lean back on this a little bit, it could be very dangerous. But if Springdale keeps their head on straight and they keep on communicating like they have been and playing such a great game like they did in the first half, I can definitely expect them to hold their own.
We see the refs starting their way back out here. The other team's just stretching, getting ready to start.
And this time we're going to have Heritage starting off with the ball for second half. Referee counting the players on each side just to make sure we're ready to go. Conferring with his assistant referees that they are ready to go. And there we have it. We have the beginning of the second half. Heritage passing and moving and really just looking to take possession of the ball. Springdale still pushing very hard. We have Joel Guzman playing it and keeping it inbounds. We have Irving Sotero there. Renee fighting to get that ball, having possession, centering it in.
And just a little bit of a weird touch there from Jose Vega.
Jose Vega getting nice control with his chest there. Tried to play it short, but just too soft of a touch. Now he's dropping back to get possession, and he's winning back the ball. Not quite. Heritage is able to pick it up, playing it back to their keeper, letting their team reorganize and open up. We have Renee pushing on that right back sending it up. Irving getting the ball back, passing it to Renee. Renee didn't anticipate that defender to come back and take it off of him.
The one thing that I really like to see is the fact, we were talking about this with the girls' game, I really like to see that Renee is staying on that back line very, very deep, especially even after the goalkeeper has the ball. They're not pushing back, he's staying
Jose
right
Vega
there.
here, now taking 1v1, just wasn't able to have complete control of that center back, luckily being able to take that ball off of Jose and passing it back to his keeper. Sending a big ball upfield. We have Jorge getting possession. Nice body there, maintaining the ball, sending it upfield to Jose Vega, who's now 1v1. Jose Vega is very skilled and technical here. We see him being composed, passing it back to Guardado. Guardado cutting it out wide. Not being able to get a good footing on that. We now have a goal kick.
But we definitely see the skill of Jose Vega coming out in that play. He was very quick on his feet and knew exactly what to do, and he knew that he had number 14 there, and just number 14 just wasn't able to capitalize.
Yeah, you could definitely see his intention and looking to maybe try to play it forward, but then realizing that his option was limited and had to play it back. Irving Sotero winning the ball back, giving it to Jose Vega. Javier losing it there to Heritage. Nelson running back very hard. Very good tackle there. Setting the ball out of bounds, giving his team just enough time to drop back and recover. Guardado fighting for the ball there. And we have another throw in for Heritage.
The difference we see here between the Heritage boys and girls teams is that their defense is playing very far up. We see some of them even over past half, just as a way to be able to be a support there for the team, considering that they are down. They need to have as many people forward as they can.
Absolutely. One thing that really is interesting to me, and that I'm sure is as a result of Wheeler's speech there with them, is that they are still pushing very high on those balls. They're not letting Heritage's defense play very comfortably at all. Heritage not being able to keep it on the ground. We have Jorge with a man on his back playing it upfield. Heritage's right midfield, they're playing it to the center. Irving coming in and stealing it very beautifully. We have the attack here, sending it out wide to Renee. Renee running with defenders on his back. Irving trying to cover back in the center. And just was nicked off there, and the goalie was able to pick it up.
That was a really nice play there by Irving, just to be able to take it down the field like that and see the opening there for Renee and playing it.
Absolutely, and then coming to support him after he gave him the ball, being the one to close in the center there to await the cross.
We see a throw in here for Heritage.
Javier with the header, playing it up to Jose Vega. Just letting it glide down there, seeing that it was going to go out of bounds anyways. Even this far back, Heritage has their men all marked up. Renee here. Renee could take a shot and puts one right behind the net. Renee takes it on, puts it right past the keeper's arms with a great finish. That is 4-0 now for Springdale.
That was a really wonderful ball by Renee there. That was really pretty, just be able to get it right past the goalkeeper's arms there.
Tenemos otro gol de René Recinos para tener a Springdale arriba 4-0.
And just one thing I really want to see now that we've had the goal score, now that we've had the fourth goal scored, is I still want to see Heritage keep up that intensity. You know, it's probably really hard on them to see them losing 4-0, but they just need to keep that intensity up.
Absolutely. I mean, that's really what I was expecting to see, especially coming into the second half, seeing Springdale still pushing very hard on Heritage's defense. They were waiting for another one. We have over here Guardado coming with the long ball on the left. Will he be able to reach it? He does not reach it, and it's going to be going out for a throw-in.
It's going to go out for a Springdale ball.
Nelson not being able to turn. Heritage playing it down this wing. Jorge anticipating it and rebounding it off of Heritage. Nelson with the flick backwards, sending it upfield. Gilberto hitting it right to Heritage's forward. Jorge there with a nice turn. Nelson recovering the ball nicely, sending the ball to Renee. Very, very quick. Wasn't able to get around the defender just quick enough. Nelson there fighting for the ball again. Heritage coming out with the ball.
One thing I noticed was that Renee right there was very close to being offsides, and instead of turning, he just moved side to side because he was like, I can't get offsides for this ball.
And that's great recognition. That's something we need to see more of so they can stop getting marked on those offsides that we saw so much in the first half. Irving there getting a throw in, passing it back to, and now we have Sylvester playing it all the way back to Abram. Abram seeing it out wide here with Jorge. And Heritage is pressing, just not quick enough with a big ball there from Jorge upfield. Ref says, play on.
So that looks like a handball there from Heritage, and it's going to be Springdale ball.
I can just imagine Heritage coming out into the second half, already down by 3, and just keep on working to try to get something, and then getting another goal conceded. It obviously would be frustrating.
But one thing I'm really liking is the fact that they are still playing very intensely. They're not letting that go to their head. They're playing as hard as they can.
We have a long ball here, and we're going to have a foul there. Irving not being able to stop and running into the goalkeeper. The referee says it's not necessary to issue a card. I agree. It didn't seem necessary to issue a card, but nonetheless was still a foul.
Definitely, it just felt like he just couldn't stop running and just kind of ran into the keeper after the keeper punched it away.
Long ball there, picked up by Heritage. Oh, we have a long ball here. We have Renee and Jose Vega running down. Renee with another goal here, putting Springdale 5-0. 8 minutes and 31 seconds into the second half, and we are up 5-0. Tenemos a Springdale arriba en el marcador 5-0. Solamente 8 minutos y 45 segundos en el segundo tiempo y estamos a 5-0.
Now I definitely feel as if Heritage, this is just really starting to probably get very frustrating for them, but I just really hope that they do keep up the intensity that they have been showing, because they've been making really great plays and been attacking really, really well. Just Springdale is able to capitalize on those little mistakes that Heritage is making.
Absolutely, and I see that Beeler here is very pleased with the results. He's pacing around very comfortably. He's talking to players, possibly looking for subs here. Springdale has really come out in their first conference game to really come out and play. We have Nelson Barroso here on the attack. Defender right on his back. Defender isn't able to take it off of him. With a big cross there to Joel. Joel headers it back. Nice. We have Javier Solis playing it to Irving, who sets him up with another pass. Picked up very nicely there. Long shot.
I just definitely feel as if this team, coming off that losing streak, the Springdale team, they just really, really wanted to prove themselves in their first conference game, and they are definitely doing it here with being 5-0.
Absolutely. We see Ruben Ayala there in the midfield coming on and definitely helping out. Javier Solis looking to put pressure. Nelson coming from the back. Javier picking up the ball, and that's going to be a foul there in favor of Heritage.
And once again, we spoke about this in the first half. They have really, really good kicks here, so we could definitely see something come out of this kick.
This is something I expect to see for the rest of the night. Heritage trying to capitalize on any set piece that they can get, playing it long. Jorge there with a good clearance of the ball. We have Rene pushing pressure. Defender cutting very nicely. Rene there with a nice turn. Wasn't able to get it past the defender, though. Throw in for Springdale. I really, really like that. Even though Springdale is up 5-0, they are still playing just like they came out in the first half. And that's something that it's definitely working in their favor. If it's giving them results, they keep on using it, and that's what I really like to see. We have a substitution there getting ready for Springdale.
And I believe we also have a Heritage sub walking over to the half line as well, getting some water and then getting ready to go in as well.
We have what looks like to be Nelson Barroso being substituted. Nelson Barroso is being substituted for Johnny Miranda. Ruben Elia handing it backwards. We have a long ball here from Heritage. Defender scrambling to try to pick it up. Jorge there with hands on his back. And we have the referee noticing the hands on the back and calling the foul.
That was just definitely a very intentional push there from the Heritage side. Nothing else you can really say about that.
Absolutely, and we definitely see the referees recognizing that and awarding Springdale the foul.
And I definitely feel like that strictly comes from the fact that they're frustrated. It's really hard to be down this far into the game, and they're just trying to figure out any way that they can to be able to get through the defense.
Springdale here with the corner kick. It looks like it'll be Joel taking the corner kick.
Heritage not too worried here on man marking, just wanting to make sure they're in the right position to stop the ball.
Center there that seems to be just a little bit too long. We have Erwin Sotero picking it up. Rene trying to send it to Guardado, but sending it outfield, but being deflected by Heritage. Irving again looking to see who his options are. Javier picking it up. Nice turn on the ball. We see Ruben there not being able to control the ball there, but winning it back and playing it back to the center back, Gilberto Razo, playing it out wide to Sylvester. Sylvester looking at his options, sending a long ball there. Just a little bit too long. Keeper picking it up before Johnny Miranda could put pressure on it.
And once again, like I was talking about, we still see Rene standing there, ready if the goalkeeper does something to
Guardado winning the ball from the keeper. Irving Sotero looking trying to win down that far side, dribbling towards the center. He's seeing that option out wide, playing it to Ruben. Ruben taking a shot, it hitting the defender. Renee losing sight of the ball. Heritage just scrambling to get it out of there. They were able to just kick it out, and now we have Springdale for a throw-in in Heritage's defensive half.
And like we were talking about earlier, I'm really loving the diversity we're seeing from Springdale here. We're seeing lots of long shots, we're seeing passes, and it's very nice to see that they're still passing the ball and moving around even though they're up this far. But also really nice from Heritage as well to see them trying different things and different methods to try to get through the defense.
Absolutely. You have Johnny Miranda there playing to Irvin Sotero. Irvin Sotero looking to see who can help him out. Plays it all the way back to the left with Jorge. Jorge giving himself too much of a long ball there. Throw in here for Heritage, but first we're going to have a substitution. Number 10 coming off for Heritage.
And also number 12 going off as well.
Number 10 being substituted for number 16. And number 11 being substituted for, I believe, number 24. Irvin Sotero winning that throw in there. Nice turn on the ball, not being able to get defended very easily. Ruben looking, passing it back to center back. Gilberto trying to get it upfield, but that forward just got it off of his feet. Jorge coming back beautifully, recovering that ball and sending it outfield. Gilberto is obviously frustrated that he wasn't able to get it all the way up the field, but here comes Jorge to clear it and to get reorganized.
We see another substitution coming on here for Heritage. The coach just trying out different methods of playing and seeing different players will come in and do different things for the team.
I mean, at this point, we can see Heritage's coach just looking to see what he can possibly do to maybe give his team a little bit more of an advantage. Now, at this point that Springdale is up 5-0, I really am interested to see if they're going to still continue to push or if they're going to try to hold back a little bit more and focus more on passing and moving and possession of the ball.
I personally would like to see that. I feel they're 5 up now. There's not really any need to continue trying to find those goals. It's just really nice to see them use their technical side, which they're very good at. They're a very technically based team. It'd just be really nice to see them passing and moving and showing what they can do.
Heritage here with an attack. 15, 1v1 versus Gilberto Razo. Gilberto Razo covering the ball very nicely, but not being able to keep it away. 15 just getting a toe poke on that, and Abraham picking it up nicely. That could have been something for Heritage. 15 definitely gave Gilberto Razo a run for his money there.
And see, that's the kind of stuff we've been talking about. You know, everyone, there's gonna come those moments for Heritage that are just going to
Long
be
ball
those
there for
moments.
Renee. Will Renee be able to pick it up? Goalkeeper sliding, knocking it out of bounds, giving Springdale a corner kick. But yeah, I totally agree. I really do like how down 5-0 and Heritage is still fighting to get whatever they can. Heritage seeming to not actively mark the post on that corner kick. We have Ruben sending it back in. We have Irvin Sotero looking to see what he can get to help him out. Maintaining possession of the ball.
I also noticed the fact that on that corner kick, they still had their 2 forwards up on the defenders, so in case that ball got away, they would be able to make those runs.
Ruben taking a header and getting a hit on the ball way up there, way over the goal, giving Heritage a free kick. Goal kick, excuse me.
And I believe we're going to have another substitution here. Number 15 is going out of the game. He has been a crucial part of Heritage's game tonight, so I'll definitely be wondering to see what their team will play like without him being on the field.
He definitely has. He's been definitely giving defenders a run for their money. He's making it very difficult for them to clear the balls back there, especially when it's 1v1. Guardado getting ahead on the ball. Not enough to maintain possession. Irving intercepting that long ball. Irving trying to cut and getting a shot in, but nothing for Heritage to worry about. It seemed to be a deflection. Now we have Springdale with the corner kick.
And we see once again Heritage not actively man marking, just trying to get into those spaces where the Springdale players may want to make their runs.
Setting that ball in, Heritage hitting it out nicely. Setting it back in, we have Guardado not being able to get that head on it. Even now, we still see Springdale pushing very high on Heritage's defensive line. We have two players that are actively pushing on there, even though they're up 5-0.
Because even then, that could be seen as very defensive as well, trying to keep those players out of the play.
Absolutely. We have long balls here. 14 seemed to have an injury there. Looks like he pulled a muscle or something. I didn't think he made any contact with any player, but he definitely was running and.
But it looks like he's up and just fine. Maybe just a little bit of a twist or something.
I'm glad to see that it wasn't a major injury, but it definitely was something that nobody really could control. It was self-made, I guess we could say.
I would say it's always very scary whenever it is those injuries that aren't caused by anyone, because it could be something really, really bad because there was no contact. It was just him going down.
Ruben playing out wide to the midfielder, not being able to get a touch on that. Irvin's been very, very active and not letting Heritage get a good touch on the ball. He's always been there just bothering them and giving them a hard time and getting control of that ball.
It's going to be a free kick for Springdale here.
Long ball there for Springdale.
Goalkeeper tries to get a hand on it, but isn't able to.
Goalkeeper looked like he might have been trying to play it short, but he realized that the Springdale players were right there, and that definitely cut off that option. Long ball from Heritage goalkeeper here. Springdale again getting the first header on that ball. Irving getting it back, playing it back to Jorge. Very dangerous ball there, though. Guardado trying to come back to recover just to be sent back upfield. We have Marvin Gonzalez also now in the game. Guardado there, nice play with Javier Solis. Guardado looking for his option. Ruben cutting and looking for an option as well, playing it back to Guardado. Heritage picking it up, playing upfield.
Here we see a 4-on-3, but we've got two Springdale.
Wonderful cutoff there by Gilberto Razo, cutting in at just the right moment. Now let me tell you, I've been in those situations myself. Wherever you have three forwards coming on three defenders, that's a very risky situation. If you get one taken on, you're down in numbers. And so to see Gilberto there come in with perfect timing and get that ball out of there at just the right moment is really, really something to see.
Definitely, and I feel like we've seen this with both the girls and the boys, that that Springdale's defense just knows when to come in and when the right time to make the play is. It's a wonderful thing to see.
Absolutely. They've had great execution of coming in defensively. Goalkeeper there, not getting a good hit on the ball, sending it out of bounds, giving Heritage a throw-in. Gilberto again, not letting that forward turn. Irving battling there, trying to get possession of the ball. We have Marvin running upfield, putting pressure on that defender, passing it back to the goalie. Goalie being forced to send it upfield and out of bounds.
And I always really like whenever you see forwards making that run, even though the player has passed the ball back to the goalkeeper, just in case the goalkeeper can't get to it fast enough or fumbles on the ball or something. You're there and you're ready.
Absolutely, and even just running up there without the intention to try to get the ball, it does put that pressure on the goalie, just knowing that some forward is coming here. Erwin Sotero, rubbing his leg, seems to might have pulled it or a slight strain there. Guardado defending beautifully, passing back to Javier on this left side. Javier passing it to Rene. Rene running down that ball very, very quick. On the other side, we have Marvin. Rene sending it. Marvin trying to measure that ball. Lost where it was at for just a few seconds, and that's all it took. Marvin coming back, trying to get that ball again. Very good effort in trying to get it back. We have a foul there on Guardado for Heritage.
Now we see this Springdale team trying to cut off those short options for the person taking the kick.
And again, just as I said earlier, Heritage is going to push very, very high on any single ball they can get. Rene there, giving it back to Marvin. Marvin looking at his options, playing it out wide, dropping it to Guardado. Guardado with the man on his back coming, looking for that big, big cross, intercepted there by Heritage.
Really nice job there by the Heritage defender to be able to see that ball coming in and be able to get it out of there.
We're looking at 2 substitutions for Springdale. We have Jesus Aldaco coming back on and Johnny Miranda getting substituted back on. That will be for Irving Sortero and Joel Guzman. Jorge here, pushing up, looking for his options, playing it back to the center. That's always dangerous, playing it back to the center. Luckily, we get it back to Gilberto, who gets a big ball upfield. We have an AR marking an offside. There we go. Center ref finally getting the attention and calling it offsides.
I just really hope we don't see Springdale fall into the same pattern as they did in the second half of the first half with the constant offsides of trying to get forward. So hopefully that was just kind of a one and done thing there.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they're doing better at that. Definitely they could fall back into that same trap, but I definitely see them doing a lot better at that. Springdale seeming to struggle to get it upfield. Heritage really pushing hard on that. Heritage not being able to control the ball good enough and throwing it outfield. Springdale's center back throwing it to play very quickly. Here we have Marvin, 1v1 with the keeper, getting a shot in. And that'll be another one for Springdale. We have 26 minutes into the second half, and that is 6-0 Springdale over Heritage. Now, let me tell you, the Bulldogs just keep on fighting, and it's really, really showing off today. A 26 minutos del segundo tiempo tenemos a Springdale arriba en el marcador 6-0, gol de Marvin.
And here we see the restart again for Heritage.
Tenemos el gol de Malvin González solo con el portero. Javier Solis now with a push from behind. That's a very clear foul. Javier not taking it too personally, just keep on playing the ball. That's exactly what we want to see. We don't want to see tensions getting too high, especially when you're up 6-0. You definitely just want to relax and continue to play your game.
Yes, I definitely feel as if with that foul, it looks like the Heritage team is just starting to get a little bit desperate to try to figure out ways to keep Springdale from scoring again.
Rene trying to get a ball into goal, sending it way out wide. We have Springdale doing a large substitution now. We see Gilberto Razo getting changed out for the first time. Springdale center back for Alan Marquez.
And that's going to be a foul on number 21 on Springdale's
We see
team.
Roberto Barroso, 21 there for Springdale, getting a header on that. See a lot of new players out on the field today. Big ball from Heritage. Springdale still being able to clear it upfield.
It's really nice to get an opportunity to have some of those those usual substitute players getting a chance to play with some of the first string team, just to be able to kind of build that relationship in case something comes up where a player gets injured or something like that.
We have Walter Rodriguez on that right side. Here we have another attack from Renee. Renee getting blocked by that defender. We have Alan Marquez intercepting that ball, playing it back to the keeper. Abraham Cordero with the big ball upfield. Johnny Miranda looking to see who his options are. Wonderful technique there, just didn't have enough options and lost the ball there.
It also looks like if we look over at the opposite sideline, we also see that there are 2 more substitutions ready to come in for Springdale.
We have Walter Rodriguez on that right side taking the place of Sylvester. And the only 2 players that seem to be from the starting lineup are Jorge and Abraham. Heritage here with the throw in Springdale's deep defensive half. Trying to get some service in there, but it just goes out of bounds.
Heritage still trying to keep up those shots and move the ball around, trying to get whatever opportunities they can.
We have Renee also from the original startup being subbed off for Jose Gonzalez. And we also see Jorge being subbed off.
We have a goal kick here for Springdale. Really good kick here, past half. Walter Rodriguez.
Ricardo Mendoza coming in for Jorge. It seems like just about every single field player for Springdale has been substituted, except for Abraham Cordero.
And I think we have someone cramping up here out on the sideline. Number 12 just down there trying to help him out, and they're sending on a substitute right now and bringing on...
That'll be Marvin Gonzalez there, having to have the trainer come on and see if he's all right to play. It does seem like he's cramping. Marvin's actually helping the player who's been cramping. The player who was down is Gabriel Guardado. Seeming to be fine, being able to play now.
And also we're into the last about 10 or so minutes of the game, so we can see if Heritage is going to be able to capitalize on anything in these last 10 minutes.
We see Day May for Springdale coming on as substitution as well. All of these players are different from the starting lineup, which is interesting to see how they're going to continue to play and be able to keep the same pace and rhythm as the starting 11. Throw in for Heritage.
And we can definitely see the defensive line for Heritage starting to push up over past the 40, most of them past the 40-yard line, just ready in case the ball comes out to take a shot.
Ruben Ayala getting a good clearance up the field, sending it to the complete opposite side. It did look like it was going to get kind of sketchy there for Springdale, but they were able to clear it out. We see Allen there still fighting for the ball, giving it to Johnny Miranda. Johnny Miranda playing out wide to Walter Rodriguez, who just wasn't able to make it. Very quick, though. And if he had just timed it just a little bit better, he would have been able to make it. Jesus Aldaco shielding the ball nicely. It's still in bounds. And that's going to give Heritage a foul on Springdale.
It's really nice to see here the the substitutes coming in for Springdale that are keeping up that same pace and intensity that we had from the first team. You know, this first 45 to 70 minutes that we've had so far. It's really great to see the substitutes all coming in and just keeping up that same pace and intensity.
Absolutely, especially given that, I mean, they definitely did have to step up their game. I mean, the first team to come on, put in 5, and for these substitutions to come in and definitely not drop off and play, definitely is a big move. That's going to give Springdale a big advantage to be able to have substituting players that can maintain that rhythm of play.
And that is the end of the game.
We have full time Springdale.
Springdale 6 and Heritage 0.
Ese es el final del partido. Tenemos a Springdale arriba en el marcador 6-0 a Heritage.
I feel like at the end of this game, really, we get to see that Springdale was not going to let that losing record define them. They came out and they played and they showed that they are definitely a force to be reckoned with this season.
Absolutely. Springdale definitely did come out. They made their presence known. They let us know what kind of season we should be expecting from them starting now on. What I do expect to see is Heritage coming back and to really give them a run for their money next time and to just really come back and give them an even better fight next time.
Definitely.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in with us to these both varsity Springdale versus Heritage varsity games. Thank you and have a good night.